Asked us about this system. We have it in open configuration right now. As you can see, bees are still bringing in honey. Not honey actually, but what will be honey. Pollen in the air. Lots of activity. We fold the wings down on the side. It helps protect from wind and also in mobile transportation. We open the top up, give ourselves room to get inside. And we have a unique entry system here. And you enter into a pretty bee-free zone. As you can see out here, there's tons of bees flying around. Tons of them. There's 1, 2 flying around in here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how, well, we take care of them like everyone else takes care of them. Come in here. And as you can see, our bees, because the system we use, our bees are so cool with us. We don't even need to mess around. These guys here are doing good. Let's see here. Let's check this hive out. And as you can see how I turn around, what I do is, oh, these guys here look like they're doing real good. We might have to get some honey off these guys. It's November 4th. Oh, come on. Maybe I should have brought my hive tool. These guys here are really rocking the Casbah. Look at this. Ooh, get a good glimpse of this one. Look at these babies go. This is the honey super. These babies are making honey for us right now. Isn't that just lovely? So I'm going to leave them alone because they're looking kind of busy right now. Come on, get back up in there. I don't want to squish any of you guys. So let's see how these guys are doing. We got several on the top here. As you can see, this is double with no honey super because I don't know why we don't have a honey super on these, but we don't. We will. It's all good. The bees are thriving. As you can see, they're loving their life. And again, if I wanted to take this box off, all I would have to do, get out of there, babies. Get out of there. Don't want to squish you. Go back, back. All I would have to do is pick the box up, turn it around, and set it here. This motion. Very easy to maintain. As you can see, the bees actually love this system. I have yet to be stung. And if you want to take a look at this, I'm actually pushing them back into their hole so I can not hurt any of them. And look at the brickback on top. There we go, guys. And the bees love this system where the hot air gets shot out here, cold air, cooler air comes in through here. This is our internal. Comes in this way. This is also how we clean it out. Nothing needing to be cleaned out right now. The cooler air comes in through this bottom, and they regulate up to 5 to 6 degrees temperature, and it comes pushing out here with the wind not hitting them because of their sides. Perfect system for bees. Thank you for watching this video. More to follow. People since our last video have asked us about this system.
Did you guys hear or see any of that? Oh, no, I didn't have me on chat. Did you guys hear any of that? Or do I need to play it again? I think I screwed up on my end. Yeah, it was pre-recorded. That is a prototype of, well, it's a proof of concept prototype of the mobile apiary system. Hey, what's up, Pete? I developed that, and actually on the finished product, there's actually going to be in the lower area. You didn't see in that video. If you guys give me a second, I can get you another video up here and show it to you where the bottom of that beehive is it opens up, and you can actually help the bees out by getting rid of all of the pests, their dead, and everything else that gather up, that in the Langstroth system hive, they actually have to crawl over because there's only like 1/8 of an inch. Oh, here we go. Okay, hold on. Let me get this. I'm going to share screen, and this will give you a better indicator of what I'm talking about. And of course, I'll narrate over it as usual. Let's see, go full screen. Hey, what's up, Deja Vu? See that bottom right there that I'm opening up?
No dead bees, because I knocked all the dead bees out.
See, now in the Langstroth system hive, you don't have the access to the bees. If you notice right above where the wood starts and that yellow blinker light is, there's a little hole about the size of a wine cork. That's the entryway, and they have 6 inches or 5.5 inches of clearance between this bottom screen that you're seeing and the actual bottom part of their comb. And that allows them time to, like when they're grooming themselves or cleaning themselves in the Langstroth system hive, they'll like knock off a parasite, it'll fall down to the bottom of the box. But then when they go outside, they've got to crawl over that parasite to get outside, so it reinfests them. That was part of the problem of the colony collapse. They couldn't successfully clean themselves because their houses didn't make it feasible for them to clean themselves. This system here I invented allows all this stuff to fall on the bottom, as you can see, not real well, but there's a few dead bees. That's another thing. They'd have to crawl over their own dead and pull them out. This way, their dead fall down 4.5 or 5.5 inches underneath the comb. They fly down to where my cursor is here, go out that hole. Every time I come visit, I drop this thing down, clear out their dead and all their trash that they drop.
He's out the other day. This is the bottom and how we have it set up. Now I'm going to powder sugar them. We have powder sugar and powder.
Okay, I got to state something here. At this phase of my learning on the creation of my system, I was into the self-grooming, cleaning stage and trying to perfect how they would be able to clean themselves of parasites and other things and not get reinfested. So that was a main concern of mine, checking on that. And I was using powdered sugar because it throws them into a cleaning frenzy, and it gets them obviously where they don't want to sting you at all. They're not even thinking about it. They're not aggressive and whatnot. So you really have to do something that gets stung by them. But eventually what I ended up doing about 6 months after this is I used marijuana clippings, and I got them smoking, and I got my bees high because I figured for a grooming session, powdered sugar, they eat the powdered sugar, it turns into honey. And I figured I wanted to see what marijuana smoke does to them. And it has a very similar effect to bees as it does to humans. It chills them out big time, makes them want to get something to drink and eat. And they're just chill. And then they just go into doing their thing and they just create honey. It's like, it chills them out. So about 6 months after this video, I changed up and went to smoking them with marijuana smoke. Yeah, I did. I do not lie. And I will tell you everything I do in a scenario like this where I'm explaining something. I actually would not, as often as I did, I would not suggest using powdered sugar. I would suggest smoking them with powdered sugar maybe twice a year, but no more than that.
That's actually throwing a good smoke amount. You know.
Hey, what's up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's quite finely dispersed.
Yeah,
to me.
I think it's floating up there. And
sorry for all that. I was again new at this, and I definitely over put way too much powdered sugar in them. You can see it pouring out the hive.
They do not fight us.
That's all sugar. You see, I picked one up. They're in total feeding mode and grooming mode right now.
Voila.
And I'm actually demonstrating at the same time how it changes their behavior when they go into different modes of operation. One of them being defense of the hive, other one being a grooming, feeding frenzy, swarming frenzy. They go through different phases like any family. And I was trying to go through the whole thing and figure it all out. And this is part of the learning. It's not the finished it's part of the system, but this is part of the learning curve of the system, and I documented it. So that's that.
These guys something to chew on. So I just
Hey, what's up, Indy? Yeah, I document all my experiments that I do, or I try to. I don't document all of them, but I do try. And as the last video, you saw the wings were down. In this video, the wings were up because it was a hotter day. And with the wings of the trailer up, it allows airflow through the beehives to help cool them down. See, there's again, a drop system. And that's...
I'm
notice
backing
how I am
away.
not being molested at all.
I, however, am backing away.
See, now my partner was still scared, and he actually had a suit on, and he was further away than me, and he was still in his own
And we
brain.
get out.
This is
help
see,
them
this is
out.
another thing about humans, bro. Okay, this right here. The guy you just heard him said, "I myself, I'm backing away." Okay, that's a mental fear. It's your brain. Fear is the mind killer. I have no fear. I'm confident of the system I created, and therefore I'm projecting a vibration of confidence, not fear or anxiety. And other animals and creatures pick up on the vibrations you put out. And every time he got scared like that, one of us typically ended up getting stung until I got him over doing that. But it was his own fear. His fear in his mind created that reality for him. That is not the reality that exists without the fear you create, is the point I'm getting across.
And close it back up. No stings. Free these guys up with some sugar. They open from the inside because of this, so I'll do that later, but I'm going to cut it.
And in the other video, I opened those back ones from the inside.
As you can see, they get a lot of power.
And actually, the finished model of this, if you see down there where I opened up that bottom, there's about an 8-inch gap before the bottom of the trailer. On the finished product model that I want to create is going to be a mushroom farm down here, because I discovered in my studies that the bees' immune systems get turned on, and they can survive a colony collapse scenario if their immune system is turned on. And their immune system gets turned on by them drinking the dew off the mycelia of the mushrooms network. So I'm going to put mushrooms all the way across the bottom on the finished model, not the proof of concept prototype that this is. And they're going to have access to get down there, because that'll also, when their immune system is turned on, they don't live 16 weeks. They actually live for 1 year. So you can only imagine, if you do the numbers, every month, I think the queen pumps out like 40,000 bees, right? Because an unhealthy bee lives for 12 to 16 weeks. So she needs to pump out lots of them to keep up with the death toll. So if they have access to the mycelia network and the dew on the mycelia network that they can drink to turn on their immune systems, their lifespan quadruples to 12 months or 1 year. But the queen's still producing the same number of eggs or larvae. So your hive's going to exponentially grow. And the reason why I say that is because each of these boxes that you see, it only holds so many bees, and you have to keep adding boxes as the hive grows, and adding honey supers. And when there gets too many boxes, you can take one box away and sell it for $300. So using my finished system, you should be able to, right there, you see on this side, there's 4 hives. On the other side, there's 4 hives. Every month, you'll be able to sell 8 hives, boxes for $300 every month, because they'll have a health regime added to their lifestyle of the mycelia network and the availability of that mycelia network. And that, of course, the honey is exponentially grows. Everything grows, and you'll discover that the bees, you make more money, a lot more money off of them.
Now we're going to go to the other side.
Thank you, Indy.
Again, no suit, no aggression. Several different species of bees.
Yeah, I had the Italian, the Russian, the American bee. There's several different types of bees I had. Another part of the experiment.
Powder sugar them a little bit up first.
how they
smoking,
interacted with each
they're
other
not too
side by
aggressive to
side
you.
hives, because they have different aggression levels.
Now you let the
different
live ones out.
emotions.
Now you see the dead. You want to scope in on this, where you can see the dead. Yes.
Yeah, see,
scope.
he's
Yeah,
back.
we'll use the features of the
Now
camera.
they
This
have a
here.
high amount of dead. We need to clean out the bottom.
He's trying to scope in. He doesn't want to go near it. What's up, John Camper?
They have no more dead.
See, that's how I clean out all their dead. And because my partner was too scared and he backed up, you can't get a view of it. But there was a couple hundred dead in there because it was cold the night before, and some always die in the cold.
And we just cleaned the dead, cleaned the inside of the hive, took care of all the parasites that were going to be hanging out there, powdered sugared them, while in front of the hive, non-aggressive.
And that hive right there, just because of that, is very grateful and thankful because they now have a clean house that they did not have to clean or waste the time cleaning or get unhealthy cleaning.
Very active.
Thus, I came up with the system of a veganomic system that I invented from all of the studies that I science that I made, experiments.
Again, these guys privilege this a little bit.
I think I get him to hand me the camera on this one, if I remember.
As you see, a whole bunch came out non-aggressively.
No, must be another video I do that.
These guys don't have too much dead, but I'm gonna pop out the dead.
And I'm doing all this action around these bees, and they're non-aggressive to me.
Come on out. Come on out. Come on out.
Pretty much, Tom.
Nope,
That's about right on target.
Nope, out.
And if you notice, I care for every single bee.
Again,
Every
because they're
individual
on
bee is
inside.
important to me,
We'll do that later.
even though there's probably like 200,000 there.
And if you want to zoom in, you can see the bottoms, and you can tell what they've been munching on in their hives.
Yeah, that's what falls through the screen. So that way it also is a good health check to see the health of the hive without having to breach the top and look inside and be actually the beekeeper to a hive. The beekeeper is the most evasive species to the honeybee because we're the ones that enter it more so than not. Another reason why I have the screen bottom and this little 6-inch area here, we see the words raw and natural and honey, and that's little 5.5-inch spot is open, and the hive doesn't start till at the top of the screen. You see this little red line. That's the honey box that actually has the bees. So all of that trash that you just saw gets to fall away from their living room, dining room, kitchen, bathroom, instead of being a 1/4 inch or 1/8 of an inch away from it. It's a healthier environment for the bees. And you saw the trash that was there. They're forced to live around that stuff, actually. How do I make this small? Okay.
We're rolling.
Get away. Stop. There we go. All right. Let me get back over here. And that. All right. Does anyone want to? Hey, what's up, Silver Sleuth? Does anyone want to come up on stage? I got it pinned to the top. Unless y'all are fanatics about. Hey, what's up, JF Enterprise? Unless y'all want to keep your anonymity and not come up on stage, and that's cool. I know Independent Minnie, as in most mothers, is using her children to deflect from coming up here. And that's cool. I understand. My mom did that too. Used me a lot. It's an acceptable excuse. You got to pass. Just kidding, girl. You know I like fucking with you. I'm actually wondering if JM's going to show up tonight. Maybe not. Oh, you know I don't hold back, girl. I throw all the punches out there. I'm equal opportunity on that. Let's see, share screen. I got something else here that'll be interesting. Actually, no, I shouldn't. I'm not going to cancel. I'm not going to share that. So the closer you were to the let's see, the closer to where you live. Oh yeah, no, local honey, most definitely, because bee travels like up to 1.5 miles away from hive to find a flower to get pollen off of, to where, as Tom said, in its lifetime make 1 teaspoon of honey. That's your local area. It'd be a 3-mile radius or a 1.5 mile radius, 3 mile and approximate travel zone. So all the allergens and pollens in that area are going to be in the honey. So if you eat local honey, even if you go on vacation, when you go on vacation, first thing you should do is find some local honey because it'll help any allergies from the new area. Like say you go to Europe, France or something, and they got different pollens and allergens over there. So if you start instantly, like put a teaspoon in your tea or something before you go out in the morning, your chances of being affected by the local pollens and allergens are decreased greatly. That is a very, very valid point. Yes, they are life, indeed. A lot of people, and they're actually more than that because 30% of people are allergic to bees. So if you're not one of those 30%, you have the advantage of being a beekeeper, which means even criminals, 30% of them are allergic to bees. So by being a beekeeper, you just prevented 30% of the possible crime that could have come your way. And about 70% of people are kind of not terrified, but really don't want to go around bees because they have a fear of being stung. Going back to like my partner in that video, it's a mind killer. Fear's mind killer. They probably most likely wouldn't get stung, but because of their own personal fears, they're putting out the vibrations of insecurity and fear. And the bees pick up on this, so it alerts them and they get interested in you. In other words, you make yourself interesting to the bees to come and check out. And then through your fear, you swat at them. To them, that's an attack. Boom, you get stung. So you just by being a beekeeper and having bees in your yard, you kept away 70% of the people that would have broke into your house. And it damn sure is. It's like I said, 70% of the people that would have broken in your house will be like, oh shit, bees, let's go next door. Now the other 30%, you got to find other ways to deal with that. As I did a video the other day, a walk around about it, I think it was a fire video, and all the impedance of walkway, that of the overgrowth and brush, just in my 1 block area. On my actual street, I had cut it back to where it was clear view of sight, line of sight for blocks, and that also works for security because you're supposed to be able to see a city sidewalk from 1 block to another without having a tree, a bush, or something like that growing out in your way. That is for security reasons as well. Criminals know this, and they tend not to hit areas that they could easily be or that would be they would be more visible in either getting away or coming to this site that they're going to. So if you keep clear lines of sight in the sidewalks and street of your block, that helps prevent crime as well. Also, it helps prevent fire. Because as they're talking about, America doesn't clean up their forests. That's why they have so many fires. They're 100% correct. We don't. We changed policies allowing natural burn 20 or 30 years ago. We used to clean up and there was no fires. Naturalists came along and said, no, we need fires, this, that, the other. And to a certain extent, they're right. Redwoods definitely do need fire because the only way the redwood tree reproduces is by the heat of the tree going up 200 to 300 foot to hit the pine cones, and the heat from that fire loosens up the resin on those pine cones, allowing them to open up, thus allowing the seed of the redwood tree to propagate. So yes, the redwood tree needs fire to propagate. The other 99% of species of trees don't need fire to propagate. So naturalists got in the way, pulled some slick moves, did some lobbying. Next thing you know, the whole government's Forest Service says, no, we're not going to clean up in the woods anymore. We're going to natural burn. And that's why America's burning right now. It's through policies that were set in place 15, 20 years ago. It was expected. Okay, I'm not shocked at fucking all. These policies, when they passed these policies, they guaranteed this to happen. I just didn't know when. But you're guaranteed with dumbass policies to get certain results. They're inevitable, as Thanos says. That's what you want. Controlled forest burns. But see, at the same time, Silver Sluice, you tapped on something. About 15 or so years ago, the Forest Service put out a dictate to all of their employees that while they're out in the forest, if they come across mushrooms, to kill them. Never found out why they put that mandate out. Then 15, 20 years later, I find out the benefits of mushrooms. Thank you, Paul Stamens and his research, and not only to humans, but to bees and nature. And I'm like, wow, so the government's intentionally killing off not only wildlife species, but fucking plant and animals, plant and bacteria species intentionally by killing off the mushrooms that naturally grow in the forest. As a matter of fact, there's one mushroom grows in the Northwest Territory, Oregon, Washington area, up where Indy's at. It only grows in areas, and this is how it's freaky, man. The life cycle of this mushroom. It can only grow on those trees in the Northwest Territory of America if a bear claws on that tree. And scientists have determined the reason why that is because of the salmon and other bacteria that from the food source of the bear build up in the claw region. And by scratching on those trees and leaving their mark, that's where the mushrooms, a certain kind of the many types of mushrooms grow. And it is because a combination of those life factors that mushroom even exists. So they're very delicate. Some of them are very delicate in actually having a life. It's very, very interesting. I can tell silver sleuths into mushrooms as well, at least more so than the average Joe. No, sweet. You guys chatting about the different types of mushrooms you can get. Right on. And mushrooms actually, well, they can kill you if you get the wrong kind. I do not suggest in any way, shape, or form going out and getting any mushrooms whatsoever unless you have a guidebook to tell you what type of mushrooms you are getting your hands on. Because for as many as are out there that can do you multiple greatnesses for your health, there are several out there that can do the exact opposite. So just don't go running out and picking up mushrooms and thinking they're good for you. There is a couple, if you watch Paul Stamens and his YouTube shows, there are a couple of mushrooms out there that he has proven, and I don't want YouTube censoring this crap. It's been proven, he's got patents on it. It actually cures a couple of types of cancer. Patents on him. He's got patents on him, YouTube. Don't fucking censor me. They took down one of my live streams when I started talking about mushrooms too much, like 30 minutes. It was like 4 Sundays ago. As soon as the live stream was over, boom, they deleted it because I was talking about mushrooms. But I started off with the bees and the video of the bees. So hopefully their sensors are realistic. And I'm not talking about some drug on the street mushroom. I'm talking about actual health benefits to creatures along with humans, mushrooms. Yeah, see that word right there. That's a trigger word for YouTube and Google to censor my shit. That's why I don't say any specific types of mushrooms, and I just say ambiguous statements about this the species of mushrooms and the mycelia networks, and I leave it on the natural side because even Paul Stamens himself, I've already spoke with his personal secretary about this issue when my show got deleted. And she said Google does the same thing to him because they think instantly when you start talking about mushrooms that you're talking about that word or that specific type of mushroom. Because in their world, there's only one type of mushroom, and it's the drug. And they don't realize there's like 36,000 other varieties out there that do 36,000 other things. But if there's one out there they don't like, you're screwed because of their personal feelings on that one out of 36,000 varieties of mushroom. It's very, very disheartening having a YouTube channel trying to spread health information of natural medicines when the government has made it illegal to do so. Hopefully they'll change. Oh, actually it will. You know what? I am going to show this other video now that we're onto it. Fuck it. Because it's kind of segued into it. I don't want to be too loud, but listen to this.
Everything changes for the United States. I don't think people know what's coming. I'm talking about a fundamental shift in America, the total destruction of the Obama-Biden era. According to sources I've spoken to, President Trump is about to unleash the largest bomb of day one executive orders that we've seen in American history. That means within 1 hour of putting his hand on the Bible, taking the keys back to the White House, President Trump is scheduled to put his name on hundreds of executive orders
What's up, sir?
immediately.
GMA
So
Merkel.
buckle up, folks. This is going to be big. So let's go through some of the huge details of what we are expecting in just a week's time. So within hours of the president taking the oath of office, President Trump is set to unleash a tidal wave of executive orders, hundreds of them, designed to obliterate the Obama-Biden legacy. If past is prologue, we can actually look back to 2016 for some clues about what's coming. But make no mistake about it, this time it'll be much, much bigger. So back in 2016, Trump hit the ground running. On day one, he signed executive orders to begin construction of the border wall, withdraw the United States from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, give the middle finger to environmentalists, expediting environmental reviews for infrastructure projects. He also froze federal hiring and took steps to undo Obamacare. Now imagine that, but doubled, tripled, or quadrupled in scale. Reports suggest Trump plans to reclassify thousands of civil service positions to ensure loyalty, reinstate travel bans to secure our borders.
So we should have a travel ban, an immediate deportation, and immediate consequences for the mother country that knowingly sends these people here.
Use a machete to basically slash regulations to reignite American industry. This isn't just hitting the reset button, guys. This is smashing it with a sledgehammer.
Okay, having said that much, having heard it from someone else, I have said this all along, and thankfully other people of reputation, because obviously my reputation is not that good. Other people of a better reputation than me are now saying basically what he said is a V-shaped recovery is coming, because once all of those regulations are slashed, you're going to see job creation, company creation, and American company and business ownership skyrocket. So do not worry about the fear mongering. Oh, we're losing 4 million government jobs that are unnecessary and taking our tax dollar. They're going to have jobs. With what that gentleman just said Trump's going to do in the first hour of office, guarantees that by Q3, we will be on the road to the upward angle of a V-shaped recovery. Not saying there's not going to be a lot of pain in Q1 and Q2. There will be. But come Q3, quiet, Ginger. Sorry, that was my cat. Q3, we're on the road to recovery on a massive scale, in my opinion. And I've said that for over a year.
This is why the left is panicking right now. They know that within 3 hours of Trump ascending to office,
Hey, what's
he
up,
will
Barry?
dismantle the policies they've spent
Hilarious
years
too. What's up,
building.
brother?
The Obama-Biden era isn't just ending. It's being erased. It's a globalist agenda that is being erased, and I cannot wait for it. So what's on the table for day one of 2025? Well, let's start with immigration. It starts right there. Trump plans to reinstate travel bans, not just as a matter of policy, but as a matter of national security. Reports suggest he's preparing mass deportation, stricter border enforcement, ensuring that the Darien Gap, Panama pipeline of illegal immigration stops.
Oh my God, that needs to.
Number one, we're closing the border. It's going to be closed very strongly, and it's going to be closed. And we're going to have to take people out that are criminals. We have people from jails from all over the world and from mental institutions. And as you know, they're going to have to be removed. And we're going to be really governed by common sense. These are the principles of common sense.
All right, enough of that. I don't want to get too much trouble with any one party political person or anything like that. Just brought that because I like the common sense of the person who brought it to you. And that wasn't my channel. That was redacted. And what they said in the first hour, there's going to be about 300 executive orders signed that are going to crash everything that was bad for America. That will cause waves. We've seen it over 4 years. The precursor to the waves, them going after the ex-president, now president-elect. They were doing it because they know what he's going to do. And I applaud the ending of Obamacare because that's part of the 15,000-page bill that Nancy Pelosi pushed through that we had to sign and then we could read it. All of that needs to go away anyhow because there wasn't one page of that shit that was good for the American citizen. So a lot of people were making money off of it, no doubt. They're going to be pissed because they were basically making money off of us, and that's not cool. So a lot of people pissed, a lot of things going to happen, a lot of ramifications. But when the water settles, it's going to be a better place. And if you're positioned and you see things clearly enough, you can position yourself very well and come out of the other end better than you went in. And that's why I bring you these things. Does anyone want to come up on panel? I got it pinned to the top. Did I say hello, Emerald? If I didn't, hello. Mary, I know I already said hello to you. I'm sure I did. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting from that one statement a guy made in the first hour after being sworn in. So what is it, 20th, 21st? He gets sworn in. Okay, within 60 minutes of that time period, he'll have signed all those executive orders. And at that in particular time, legally, everything changes. It'll take about 6 months to work its way through the system. And that's where the bad times come. The other 6 months, it'll be recovery from that on the right path and direction in a better suit of armor to face the world's economic war, and we will come out victorious. But there's going to be some pain, as I had mentioned. Oh, that one's cool. The micro mushroom that glows in the dark. Yeah. Yeah, those guys are avoiding me tonight, I guess. I don't know. Had a conversation with Constitutional Stacker early today. I was kind of hoping he'd show up, but I guess he's not showing up either. I think, and I'd like anyone who knows Constitutional Stacker to say this. I think he's realizing that I'm smarter than him and have better ideas and would make a better president in 2028 than he would, and he might actually vote for me. I got 3.5 more years to convince him. Nickel, I'll just have to slip him a fucking whiskey and he'll probably vote for me. You know what I like, and I don't think any of you guys have heard this, and this is way off base that we haven't talked about it, is a bioluminescent computing. Yes, hilarious too. That is what keeps a nation, a first world nation, world leader, is its innovation and innovation and creativity and its production. But innovation and creativity leads to production. And that's why I've got a couple ideas coming down the pipeline that I'm hoping I can follow an Elon Musk pathway of getting some government subsidies, because what I have is going to be world's first, asked for by the world, and made in America. But I need a couple $1 million. And since Elon Musk was able to get a couple $1 billion to come up with a total electric car made in America, I'm looking at making an electric catamaran, solar and wind power with no generator whatsoever. So it'll be the first 100% carbon-free catamaran in the world. And all the competition that I'll have already put out statements of what they would consider the perfect green catamaran. And mine surpasses their expectations. So, and it'll be made in America. And that's my sales pitch to the government, to get subsidies to help pay for me to have it built here in America, hopefully around the Mobile area. That's why I'm looking to move back down that way. Got a lot of things going. $2025 is going to be an awesome year for me. But then again, I see the path, and that path, you know, if you see the path, you can maneuver and you can successfully make it through to the other side and prosper. And that's what I want to see for everybody. That's why I kind of started this channel, get the word out, tell people things, and to get several strikes by YouTube. You know, that was my intent purpose as well. Yes, they do, GM. They all lie, cheat, and steal. And that's the job. And that's what I don't like when people, and we actually help create that facilitate that thought process when we say, oh, he's a lame duck president, because that gives the impression to the other side of the aisle that we've lost confidence in their ability to do anything, and they can start pushing their agenda before the guy that you voted for even gets out of office, just because of the appearance, because of the words you use. Oh, he's a lame duck. No. And I've heard people saying, oh, well, Trump's a lame duck. Okay. Yeah, no, he's not. He shouldn't be looked at as a lame duck until his last day, because every day he's not looked at as lame duck means there's a day that he's going to be able to be more effective for we the people, instead of whoever the hell thinks he's a lame duck and they can push their agenda on we the people. So there's a couple ways to look at things. Yeah, basically, envision it as you create your reality, and it's false and it's true. It's false in the fact that you just can't say, "Ooh, I want a cheesecake in my hand," and boom, a cheesecake appears. But it's true in the fact of things you do allow you to be positioned to get what you want, and it can happen. You want to redo the 80s, Tom Larson? Yeah. Okay. Time travel can probably be possible on a quantum level. I actually think they've already actually proven they can do that, but only it's not as matter. I don't think I did a video on that, but it was a very interesting video I was watching. It was on quantum level time travel, but it's not what we as what we perceive as time travel. And the way they explained it out and everything, it actually is a time travel scenario, but it's just not what we think of being able to go forward or backwards in time. And I can't remember because it was a very, very intricate and, I mean, well explained, but very intricate explanation. And I do not recall enough of it to be able to repeat it with any accuracy to make it sound legible or believable. So I'm not going to. But on the quantum level, there is a type of time travel you can do. Oh, sweet, Mary. See, that's why God chose me not to have any kids, because I wouldn't be in any scenario ever possible to make a snowman. It would be, oh, hey, Neil made a sandcastle snowman on the beach in the tropical sun in December and January with his grandkids. And that would be my story. Quiet, Dixie. My cats are just talking all over the place tonight. I don't know what the hell's up. I said quiet. GMA Merkel. There's a lot you can do. There's a lot you can do. If you know what they're gonna do, and you don't know how to get around it, or you don't know how to look to get around it, then you kind of deserve. It's like a deer in headlights. If you're gonna stop and just look at the lights as they're coming to you, you deserve to get hit. There are ways around it. For example, everyone thinks everyone has to get the mark of the beast. Well, that's a bullshit lie. That's an outright lie. They say that because they want to instill fear in you, because they don't want you to find a way around getting the mark of the beast in your right hand or your forehead. Well, I know exactly how to do that. And you can do it very, very easily. All you got to do is start a corporation or an LLC and have it pay you in taking care of all your life needs. In other words, your housing expense, your food expense, your travel expenses is all paid for by the company. Therefore, what happens in that scenario? You don't ever have to buy anything. So why the hell would you get a mark? And this is 100% legal. And trust me, people will be doing it because the rich aren't going to have a mark, and because they figured out a way around it. And I just told you it. So, anyone can do it. So if you're concerned about the mark of the beast, start a company that takes care of all your personal needs, keep accurate records of it, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, when they say, oh, you need the mark to buy this, you'll be like, sorry, see these legal documents? This is the LLC. It takes care of me. You have to give me that credit card mark of the beast. And you'll never have it on your body. So therefore, revelations will be irrelevant to you because you're not going to participate in it. Not literally, but figuratively. And that's how you get around that. It's very, very simple. Any problem you look at, it's not a problem. It's an opportunity for a solution. If you look at it like that, you've just created your own reality to make a solution or to find a solution that's very feasible and actually probably right before your eyes, and you don't see it because you're not looking for it in that perspective. And that's where perspective matters. That's probably why I see pathways for everything, because I just take and look at things from different perspectives. And it's like taking and looking at a freaking, it's like cheating at Battleship. It's like you're able to get up and look at the other side and see what the other person has, and then go back down and sit where you're at, and then say, oh, I'll take B14, because you looked at it from different perspectives, so you're more accurate in your call. Are you cheating, or did you just look at your battle from a different perspective? In that case, it's cheating, actually, but you get the point. And cheating actually is allowed in the government. They've designed things to where you can quote unquote cheat, where actually cheaters prevail. Not literal cheaters, but sometimes literal, but people who skirt the system tend to do better finding routes around the system than working with the system. And in saying that, I bring up a personal case to myself with the Internal Revenue Service. Everyone said, you owe $137,000. I told the IRS, oh yeah, you think I owe you $137,000. Good for you. I'll give you $100 and then we'll start fresh. How's that? They said, fuck you, we're going to take you to court. I said, okay, since you want to be poo-poo, panty waist, baby boo-poos, I will go to court. And then after it was over, they said, okay, Neil, we'll take $100 and you start fresh. And I said, don't you wish you'd have listened to me before we went this far? And I walked out. So basically, they should have taken the deal I offered them, because in the end, they took the deal I offered them. We just had to go to court to make them do it. So it's all about your perspective and selling that perspective. It works for the law, too. I wouldn't suggest anyone else try that, but if you got all your ducks in a row, fucking give it a shot. And what you got to understand about the IRS is they have overlapping rules and regulations that say the exact opposite. So you can, if you're knowledgeable, and this is why I say knowledge is power. If you're knowledgeable about all the rules and regulations, you can use their own rules and regulations against them, because there's so many of them. You just got to be aware of them all, because I guarantee you one thing: the person you're dealing with, the IRS, probably just got hired within the first 5 years and they're just getting paid to do a job. They haven't researched what the IRS statutes they put out 25 years ago that they never rescinded. See what I'm saying? So the person you're dealing with probably doesn't know a damn thing about the IRS tax codes. So if you're more knowledgeable than them all the way up the line, you can smoke them, because for real, they're an illegitimate organization anyhow. If you can't legally take them to court and smoke them, you're coming at it from the wrong perspective. You should always be able to beat a thing that's illegitimate, especially in court. You just got to know how and not be scared to come at it with that perspective. That's why I say perspective matters. It really freaking does. It can change your whole attitude, and yet that changes your whole life. If you don't like what you're seeing, change your perspective. Go from a different angle. That's the difference between success and people who are successful and people who are failure. Yeah, a lot of it has to do with a lot of people are born with money, but most of those people are born with money. There's actually statistics on that. After the third generation person, whoever had the money, if you're the third generation with that money, you're going to go bankrupt, because the statistic is 90% or 92% of rich people within 3 generations, their families are bankrupt. And it's even quicker if you win the lotto. It's 5 years and these are numbers they've gathered. They're averages. They've taken the other actual what people do and gotten information on it. And these are actual numbers. If you win the lotto, there is a 70-80% chance. For the lotto, it's 95% chance within 5 years you'll be claiming bankruptcy. And if you become a millionaire in your lifetime, there is a 92% chance that your grandchildren are going to die broke. because people don't know how to, well, two things: teach and learn. Mary Kay is a beautiful human being. She does for the dogs what I do for the cats. And that's why we can never get together and meet, because she'd have 10 dogs, I have 10 cats, and you the picture you just had in your mind. Cats and dogs don't get married. They don't actually get along in most cases. Not that the people don't, just the critters don't. I mean, I already know my outside cats don't like dogs because they always take off when someone's walking their dog. They're like, they scatter. And so I'm sure my inside babies would be the same way. They've never actually, I don't think they've actually seen a dog. No, they've seen dogs. They've seen my babies before I had to put them down last year. What's up, Welco Service? Three is two, two is one. There's a lot of rules out there. Sorry, I'm inhaling. I do have the 420 smoke sign up, so smoke them if you got them. And if you don't, yeah, fuck you. I'm smoking for you. So anything else? Let's see. No, I had nothing I needed to discuss. We could talk about, I guess, I don't know. Actually, I don't know. Huh? Oh, there's a topic for discussion. That picture just reminded me. I have followed the 10-mile rule. I'm sitting in a magical spot. Right on. Quiet, Dixie. Hush it with your moo-moos. Come here. I'll give you some love and just shut up. Shit. No, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, Mary. Oh, my God. I have seen some of the most funny videos. Most of them are a pit bull dog coming up to like kids in yards and shit. And their cat will come up as the dog is stalking the kid to attack it. The cat's stalking the dog. And right before the dog, or around the time the dog wants to make its move, or you think it would want to make its move, the one that actually comes to mind right off bat was this big furry orange cat. And it was a pretty decent sized pit bull. And first off, it scared the shit out of the pit bull, that this critter, because the pit bull was in the mindset of, ooh, because they're very singularity of thought animals and very short attention span, very simple animals. So its brain set was set on attack. It could have been the bike, could have been the tire, could have been a kid, who the hell knows. It never got the chance because this cat came out from underneath this minivan and hit this dog from the side. And because the dog was so fixated on whatever it was fixing to jump on, didn't even see this cat coming. And oh my God, that all you heard was like it was being castrated or something. That dog fucking went straight into holy crap, I need to get the hell out of here, I'm dying mode. It was funny as heck fire. So yeah, cats do actually chase dogs away. And it's very logical if you think about it. What they got what? 5 attacks and the dog has 1. I mean, seriously, each one of those paws with a claw is worth a dog bite. Because if that cat gets in you and rips out, it'll actually do more damage than a dog bite. And that's just one of its 4 claws, along with its mouth of the canines of over 1/4 inch. Quiet, Ginger. Damn, all my girl cats are talking. What the hell? Hey, JM. No, quiet. There's nothing up there in the corner. She's looking up in the corner on the ceiling, thinking there's something up there. She keeps meowing at, looking at, and scratching at, and there's nothing there. The problem with evil. Okay, there's several problems with evil. It's your conception, or the conception that we've been fed of evil. And what I mean by that is we've been fed a line. And I'm not. Let me rephrase that. I don't want to take away from anyone's belief system. My belief is people have been told a story about what hell is. And coming from Southern Baptists, they tell us hell is fire, brimstone, torture, burned alive. And they explain the definition of hell as looking like that. But through my most extensive theological studies beyond Sunday school, I discovered that that's actually a lie. And from what I discovered, and it basically says hell in not as distinct a terms, but basically from my studies, I've found in the writings in the whole Old Hebrew, it says hell is the absence of life, meaning you're not written in the book of life. Meaning, if you are not saved by Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior to get to heaven, you don't exist. That is hell. And another way to conceive that is if you have a sibling and you get to go to heaven and that sibling goes to hell, you will have absolutely no recollection of having a sibling. Your mother and your father, if they go to heaven with you, will have no recollection of having two children. But at the same point in time, that child sibling that wasn't written into the book of life will still be wandering the earth, seeing you and his mother and father, but not being able to interact with them because in their world they don't exist. Meaning there's an alternate dimension that the unsaved go to, and there's nothing there to recognize their existence, but yet they can see everything else going on, not being recognized by it. That's the best layman's terms of hell that I've learned about through studies that I've gone through and spoken with other people on their studies, and that basically that's what hell is. You're wandering the earth and you can see everyone else that's saved and all the stuff they're going through and all the good stuff and everything, but you can't interact with them, and they don't even remember you. Mary, I got my old pastor. He moved away when I moved away from Concord. It took me years to find a pastor out here in California. Oh my God, it took me a long time. Quiet. And when I found one, we became very good friends. And anyhow, he retired, moved up to Wyoming. I still have him in my phone on speed dial. we talk about once a month just to stay in touch. And in case he actually did 17 years of straight nothing but theological studying. I only did like 1.5 years. He like went far further than I ever. He actually went over to Jerusalem several times, went over to Mount Zion to the monks temple that's up towards the top of Mount Zion, and actually read some of these Hebrew texts in their in their original versions. So I actually trust him a lot more than my own studies, and he concurs with what I've read and my understanding of what I've read. But having said that, religion is a personal thing, and not two people will get the same meaning, because everyone's an individual and we have our own paths to walk. Therefore, we're going to have our own life experiences, and the Bible is meant to help guide you through life. Not my experiences in my life, but yours, how you experience your perspective. So it's a personal thing. So you can get something different out of it than what I get. That disclaimer, throw it out there. God himself said that. I will not challenge that one. But through my studies, and that's all I'm giving is my perception, not no one else's, and I don't expect anyone else to have my perception. I expect 3/4 of you think I'm a nutcase, and that's cool too. I don't care. Okay, back to the source of sin. I'm sorry, Hilarious too. Went way overboard with that. Evil is a perception. Here's my answer to evil. Satan was God's number one. How did he become evil before we were even around to conceive the difference between good and evil? So is it really evil, or is it just the wrong side of good? Or is it for even us to designate that? But that always, and I mean, to take 1/3 of the angels too. I mean, he had to be a real convincing son of a gun. Oh, sweet. I'm glad, Emerald. You know me, I just talk. You guys bring up the subject, I'll talk about it. And anyone who wants to come up on panel and more accurately deliberate your point, because you can't do it so much in text as you can in vocalization, you're more than welcome to come up. As you can see, hey, God, dog, these cats tonight are acting all kinds of mischievous and annoying. You're more than welcome to come up. You don't have to show your face. As you see, I am not a supernova exploding. Ooh, that brought me back to another point that I was talking about a little bit earlier. What would happen to a constellation if one of the main stars of that constellation disappeared and was no longer in existence? What would happen to that constellation? Would you still see it as the same? Would it still be recognized in astrology and astrophysics as that constellation, even though it doesn't have the same perceived Greek format of whatever it described when they labeled it, the constellation they labeled it? Yeah, on the 13th. Actually, if you guys look up in the sky, there's 6 planets in the night sky can be seen from the northern hemisphere. It's not that often that happens, maybe a couple times in your lifetime. They're not in alignment, but they're all in the same hemisphere of vision from our northern hemisphere. I went out last night and it was a clear night, and I actually saw 3 of them clearly without a telescope. It was beautiful. I didn't even break out the telescope. I just sat there and looked up. I was glad I didn't see no UFOs or drones when I spent that hour looking up at the sky at night. It's amazing how in the Bay Area we don't see all this shit, but on the East Coast they're seeing all this shit. Kind of weird. Aliens don't like fucking surfers or something. Pretty much, Mary. My Nana, there's a funny story. My father's mother is my Nana, German side. Nana, my father's father's my papa. It's the German terminology for the grandparents. My Nana always said, of all of her grandkids, I was the only one that had a PhD. No, a BS, PhD. No, a BS, MS, PhD. And I thought that was funny as hell. And after she told me what it was, I thought it was even funnier. She said, I have more shit, which is bullshit. I've had bullshit, which is BS, more shit, which is MS, and PhD is, I say, bullshit, more shit piled higher and deeper. And that's what she said. She said I had an MS, BS, PhD. I thought it was funny as hell. Everywhere else go. If everyone was the same, dude, we'd all be in the army and we'd all have fucking crew cuts, wearing the same clothes and saying the same things, doing the same thing. And oh, fuck that shit. No wonder I didn't do well in the army. I didn't quit. I had the unique opportunity of the Congress breaching my contract, and I told them to get fucked. I wasn't re-signing. So after 18 months, I got out. They actually illegally called me back in 1991 for the war because I had an honorable discharge, and the contract I signed with them to be in the military was null and void due to a breach of contract. And if anyone here knows anything about law, once you breach a contract, that contract is null and void. So they had no legal right to call me back before the draft, but they still called me back. And that's why it took 25 years for me to get my VA benefits, because they didn't recognize their illegality of calling me back and sending me to war. And then they let me out in 4 months, not 6 months. So that was another thing that screwed up the records. But anyhow, that's another story. What's up, JM?
Hey, Neil, how's it going?
It's going fine, my friend.
Good.
I was hoping there for a second it was Indy, but I realized her kids are around. She's got to take care of them. Doesn't have time to come up here. My bad. I just saw her in chat, so I figured I'd throw a jab that way.
Yeah. It's good to see Indy, Mary, Emerald, Welchco, everybody in here.
Yeah, it is nice.
I was
Oh,
just gonna,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, with all the credentials that it was your grandmother, I think you said, gave
Uh,
you the MS.
oh yeah, my nana. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot of credentials. Like, to me, that means you must be pretty qualified.
Yeah, for the College of Hard Knocks. And fortunately 90% of us go to that college.
I did. Like, I didn't get any post secondary.
I didn't even finish high school, bro.
I did finish high school, but
Actually, I didn't finish. Oh, well, I did. I finished one school that I started at because I started in the middle of middle school at a private school, 7th and 8th grade. So I actually completed that school cycle. Other than that, I either quit or got kicked out of elementary school. I quit 6th grade middle school and public school, and I quit public high school. So I never stayed more than 2 years in a row in a public high school environment because I just couldn't handle. I could, dude. I mean, I've been fucked up my whole life, but I never accepted any of the bullshit that they fed down my throat from 1st grade on. I always questioned the teacher, and I always came back with the same answer: "You're full of shit." And as a kid, that's the answer I came up with. And these people, I got treated appropriately, so I told them, "Fuck off!" I quit. I was a handful as a child. But back then they didn't have special schools for smart kids. They just treated them like idiots.
Did you get bused into school, or did you walk or take your bike? How did you get to school?
In Italy, we had to take a bus because we lived in a town 15 kilometers away from the ferry that took us to the American island that had the school on it. So we had to get bused there. In Scotland, well, it was a combination because we had to walk about a mile. And this is a typical story you hear on TV. I walked a mile in the snow to get to the school bus. I actually walked a mile or thereabouts to from the lighthouse, down the lighthouse road, down to the fucking fish dock where the school bus picked us up. So I, walked, bused in 3rd and 4th grade. 5th grade, I rode my bike to elementary school. 6th grade, took the bus. 7th grade was the private school was close enough. I just rode my bike. And 9th and 10th grade, well, it was a combination of I took my car or I took the school bus if my car was in the shop or something.
So when you took the bus, were you one of the kids that sat at the back of the bus?
Dude, I got a cool story about that. And actually, in Italy, the school bus actually went through 3 towns, picking up all the students from 1st grade through 12th grade. Right. Because the school was a 1st through 12th school because it was the first year it was opened, the first year that the Americans moved in that zone for the Navy. So all these families, everything was new. They didn't have it sorted out right. So we all went to the same school. And so wherever the kids were located, where the families could find housing, the bus went and picked them up there. So 1st graders and 12th graders rode the same bus. And I was a 2nd grader, and there was 12th graders on the bus. I sat in the back.
Right. Well, that's where the rowdiest kids usually sat.
Yeah, I pushed a 12th grader out of the way. The other 12th graders thought it was so cool. They made him stay out of the way and let me sit by him.
Yeah. And so Tom was saying he was one of the guys at the back of the bus. And I was even thinking earlier, probably at the back of the class too, if you had a choice. Making paper airplanes, throwing them at the teacher.
Yeah, it depended on, I was going to say, it depended on how I wanted to treat the teacher. Me and this chick in 9th grade algebra. No, it wasn't algebra. What was it? It was another math class.
Calculus.
No, I didn't make her quit. We made this teacher quit because we did stuff like that, spitball, stuff like that. And we both sat in the back of the class, and our game was to have her blame the other one. So that way they could always say I didn't do it. And they'd get sent to the dean's office, but they didn't do it. So and it made the teacher look like an ass, and she ended up quitting. And we did that year to her. But like my science teacher, I sit at the front of the class, bro. I was front and center, bro. I wanted to learn everything about that stuff.
Yeah.
So it depended on the teacher and the subject. If it was interesting to me, I wanted to learn everything about it. If it bored the hell out of me, I'd have fun with the teacher.
Okay. My first like kindergarten to grade 3, I had to walk. It was about a mile.
That's cool. It's
Yep.
a good experience.
It was pretty young though. Like it was my brother and I, or as my younger brother grew up, is the three of us would walk.
Dude, that's like the fucking Waltons, bro. That's a life experience, man.
Mhm.
A lot of kids miss that stuff. They don't even get the chance to fucking have that independence with their siblings, relying on each other and counting on each other. There's a lot of bonds happening in that scenario.
Yeah. But then, there's 7 or 8 years where I took the bus and bicycle. That was more like 3 miles.
Yeah, what, middle school on, you did the bikes?
Yeah. But like the bus service was provided, but it was close enough, if you felt like taking your bike, gives you a little more freedom at lunchtime. You can cruise on down to the Slurp and Burp, the coffee shop.
Get an ice cream cone.
Or whatever, yeah.
Heck yeah, buddy. See, we had similar. I was a real excellent swimmer, so I lettered. I got a varsity letter my freshman year, so I hung out with the seniors. And the thing in Pensacola High School at Pensacola was Pensacola Beach. At that time, it actually had the whitest sands in the world as far as beaches goes. It was ranked up there with some of the best beaches in the world. So it wasn't that far away. So from my first year in high school, I really never spent too many days, the whole day in school, because either the kids would hang out, the cool kids would hang out in the west parking lot, and in the morning we'd determine if, some of us would get dropped off by the bus and go to the west parking lot and hook up with some people, and we'd determine if we're going to school that day or if we're going to the beach. So it's a kind of fun way to grow up. You don't learn much at school at the beach, but yeah, Pensacola, Florida.
I can see how that would be a draw, right? It'd be very tempting to.
Oh my God, dude, come on, man. Teenage kid, thongs, beach, or inside a fucking box room listening to someone talk. What's your choice? Is there really a choice? You're at the beach with the thongs, buddy. Wrong age, wrong area. Every kid that wanted that could go take off, skip, or whatever did so frequently. Work. I moved out of Pensacola, Florida, because it's a dead-end place for a young guy who wants to make money. There's no high-paying jobs. There's no industry. There's nothing there. Your best job would be a civil service job that at the time, back in 1993, $12 an hour. You're not fucking taking any vacations on that. But that's the best pay you get in that town. So why stay? It's what they call a retirement town for a reason. Good place to live if you have an income and are retiring. It's a beautiful place to live. If you're a young kid looking to make money and make a name for yourself, don't you ever go to Pensacola, Florida, because you're going to get stuck in the mud and never leave. That's why I left.
Like quicksand.
Pretty much. You buy a house there, dude, ain't no one else going to want to buy a house there. You're going to find out later, 10 years later, there's this thing called hurricane insurance. They're dropping now all of a sudden. It's a big deal. Well, it wasn't a big deal for 20 years. Why is it a big deal now? Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's all about money. Yep, it damn sure is. Maybe it's land grab and house grabs too. Yep. Because things they don't tell you about Florida, the great state of Florida. Because I was going to buy in Florida, and I found out, so I was like, no, thank you. First off, Southern Florida, you're taking a chance if you buy. Because if a sinkhole appears within like a half mile of your house, all your insurances get dropped. And basically what that means is you're never allowed to sell that house. Ever. Because no one will be able to insure it, which means no one will be able to get a loan to buy it, which means that house is now yours. You'll have to pay for it forever. You won't be able, you'll be able to leave it to your kids, but who the fuck wants a house that you can't sell? It's worth nothing. It's
on a sinkhole too. It's a liability in addition to that.
Well, yeah, it's even further than that. But just the fact that they de-insure you of every insurance. Now a hurricane comes along. Well, what's going to happen with you? You're bankrupt now because you bought there. because you're using all your extra savings to fix your house because you don't have insurance.
Take care, Emerald.
See you later, brother. Thank you for stopping by, my man. And another thing about, let's see, what else was about Florida? A lot of those houses are built on swamp. And what was will return too. Big hurricane comes by, people want to know why they get flooded, because all the undersoil that is not natural to the area under a storm surge gets pushed away, which actually puts your house back in the swamp where it was actually built on. Its building regulations that were used were very shabby at best. And they push people into natural swamp ground, and that's not really ground. It sinks. It's a swamp. It sinks.
And you know the alligators aren't going to be too far away from that.
Oh, most definitely not. Or the iguanas, and now they even have a YouTube show. A girl goes around with a blow dart or a bow and arrow and gets paid to take iguanas out of people's yards. They become that evasive. Along with the python. Python's been eating alligators down there. They escaped from the Miami Zoo during Hurricane Andrew, I believe it was, that went straight over Miami. It took all their birds, all their fucking monkeys, all their reptilians, and put them straight into the swamp, where they all thrive to this day and reproduce and cause all kinds of invasive species problems. The number last I checked, to clean up the Everglades, it cost $1 billion per acre. I think there's a couple million acres.
Wow.
Yeah, just to let you know what kind of tax liability you're going into if you run into Florida. Someone's paying that $1 billion per acre.
Slightly different subject, but Gima Merkel put in a really good comment there, just as a personal service announcement, public service announcement. Especially as you get older, making things easier for the next generation is a great idea. Make sure someone knows where your passwords and things, even like the freaking garage key.
Oh, okay, that statement. Okay, I was wondering what you were talking about. I was eyeballing it to highlight it, but you weren't getting to what he said, so I wasn't sure if it was that comment or not.
For sure. And like even having a will and all that, a lot of people have that sort of thing.
Everyone pushes that way. You might want to look at having a living trust.
You got to have something, right? Just don't
definitely have something.
Don't have
definitely
everything.
Have something.
Loose ends.
If you don't have something, you just gave it all to the government. Mm-hmm. Your kids are
right.
For it.
That is right.
Exactly. So if you're going to be a dick, don't do nothing and give it all to the man that you're currently fighting. Give him more weapons and more ammo. Go ahead and do it. Or if you don't want to do that, start a living trust or have a will and have an executor and keep them informed. Life happens. Part of life happening is it ends. We all get older. After 100 years, even if you were born, you'll be 100 years old. It's a natural state of being. The unnatural state of being is the economy and government. So follow the rules and regulations that the government puts in there for a living trust or a will scenario, to where your last will and testament will be followed through. And also what you got to look at, and the reason why I say living trust is because there's a lot of times when, and this happened to my father, God rest his soul, when his mother, my Nana, died, God rest her soul, she passed away. She was in Jonesboro, Louisiana. He was in Pensacola, Florida. It was like 4 or 5 hour drive. By the time he got there, his sister's husband had already gone to the house and gotten all of the valuable jewelry and everything else and pulled it out. But they couldn't prove it was him. But he was the only one that had keys, so obviously it was him. But no, my dad does whatever. And in the will, a lot of the stuff that came up missing went to other people. So to actually have a will serves no purpose. To have a living trust takes it out of the hands of your other children who are executives and doesn't allow them the opportunity to have to lawsuit their brother or sibling to make sure the last will and testament is enacted, which causes long-term harm between the siblings. Because everyone even knows the story, and no offense to anyone who's dead in the chat, but dead people are like whale carcasses, the great white sharks come first and then the whale. And that's why, because people are always greedy for money more so than doing the right things, especially after you die. If you have a lot of money, I can almost guarantee you someone's going to come along and sue, contest the will, to where if you have a living trust, it evades all of that. And it kind of fucks all of your inheritors to have to follow suit. Less chance of lawsuits. It's a little bit more expensive, but in the long run, it happened to me and my brother, man. My brother turned all kinds of fucking great white shark, both after my father and mother's death. He wanted to consume all the goods. Matter of fact, he didn't allow the reading of the will for 10 years till after my father died somehow. And that's my brother.
Yeah, what was saying his
that's a will and testament, and he was the executor. So that's how he was able to get away with it. So that's why I say I do have personal experience, and last wills and testaments can get fucked with, because I don't know if he was waiting for me to die before they fucking engaged that will and testament or the last will or whatever. But it took 10 years for me to get my part of my dad's house.
That's whacked.
Yeah. So Welsco, I already resuscitated you. You are no longer dead, so you cannot be offended. But yeah, so, there are issues with last will and testament. It all sounds good. Everything sounds good when we want to talk about it. Research it. Things aren't, life's not pretty, people. It really isn't, man. Research shit you think like last will and testament's actually following through and all that. Yeah, Hillary Clinton came along, changed up a lot of the definitions and the meanings of words. And there's a lot of lawsuits now and a lot of changing of definitions of words after you die that changes up words of their definitions in your will. And that shit can happen and does happen if you have enough money, where living trusts prevent all of that. That's why I brought it up.
Good call. And this is not legal advice, but
I don't give legal advice. I didn't even graduate high school. We already went through that shit. I'm a dumbass. Thank you. I understand your disclaimer. I'm sorry.
Trying to be helpful.
I appreciate the dog crap out of it. And I use that as a pun. See, now you have 3 dogs as your picture.
Thank you for thanking me.
It's amazing. I don't have a kitty cat picture. I could put a.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah. Well, I guess I do have kitty cat pictures. Just not the regular style of kitty cat. Not the kind of cat I have around my house at present.
No, that's a big cat.
Oh, that's a big baby. Yeah, oh, man. Every time I see those pictures, I used to actually, just like little cats, except for, of course, I'd use my whole hand. They like being scratched right where the joint of the jaw goes from the lower mandible to the upper mandible. Right up around that area. They love being scratched, even those big sons of guns. And if you ever get the opportunity and the trust built up in one of those to do that, oh man, it takes you a step closer to God.
Hey, Broke Stacker, good to see you.
What's up, Broke? Don't rock the boat. I'm broke too, bro. Oh, speaking of which, super chats are not open if you don't want to use them. I heard someone say that, so I figured I'd fucking make a joke out of it on some other channel. Actually, I think it was the Uneducated Economist that used that one.
Said super chats are not open?
No, he said he used the line, super chats are open if you want to use them. So I said, I'm going to use that one, but say they're not open. Gotcha. He's the one who brought it to my attention to use, is what I'm saying. And intending to get across.
So are you getting a lot of smoke from the fires in California?
No, the fires jump northernly, but the smoke always flows south. Yes, that did sound weird, but it's also factual. In other words, someone's starting the fires. No, the smoke's blowing south, and they're already south of us. So for when I heard that the fire jumped 25 miles north, I said, That's a lie. It didn't jump 25 miles north. Someone started a fire 25 miles north.
That's true. Like, yeah, when I look at it, it looks like it's a ton of different isolated fires.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not all one thing.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
But I heard from a few people that were, I guess, downwind from the fire saying it was just absolutely pungent. It was really nasty.
Oh, well, see, this is the funny thing. All this talk about that, but I was in more danger when the NorCal fires last year, the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that, than I am in danger of this fire. And the smoke and all that shit, that affected me last year, the year before that, and the year before that. But no one talked about it. That's why I think the whole thing's funny. They're only talking about it because superstars had their houses burnt down. And there's going to be lawsuits. So let's talk about it. We don't talk about the lawsuits to where a whole town, I think of Paradise, California, was told you cannot rebuild. And that town was a prominently Republican voting. And they were not allowed to rebuild in the fire zone. So I'm going to ask you this question before this fire down south goes any further. If they're going to give them permission to rebuild in fire zone, because if so, they're doing the exact opposite of what they did to fire victims in the town of Paradise last year. Why are they changing the law for Southern California? And I'm already bitching because I know they're going to allow them to rebuild. I already know.
Yeah, they want to change the zoning, I thought, for high density buildings.
No, they're going to allow the rich people to fucking build back there. There's lawsuits to be taking place. It already made national attention. It was supposed to be a quiet thing, and it wasn't a quiet thing, so that plan got blown, bro. Now they're caught with their pants down. Liability. They're supposed to have had control of the national news and the 3 news outlets at this point in time in history. Another reason why they were so mad at Trump, because he fucked their whole game up. This was not supposed to be a national issue. It's supposed to be a state issue, not made to go to the national news. So that way they could have burned more of it down, put in the 3 15-minute cities, and then made the national news with saying, oh, by the way, something burned down, but look what we put in its place. And we would have congratulated the policymakers who burnt it down and threw up the 15-minute cities. That whole thing got screwed up. And that's why one of many reasons why they are attacking the Trumpster. And that's why when people say 15-minute cities, I'm laughing because that's not going to happen now. That whole thing. I mean, okay, for example, Governor Newsom got busted during the fire going to a meeting to set up a $300 million fund so that illegals can sue Trump instead of getting deported over saying, hey, let's get $300 million up and fight the fires. Is that not blatant fucking attacking? It's yeah, let's not talk about that no more. Yeah, they've been fucking with the state for a while, man. And the people who haven't been able to afford to leave are really getting fed up. And the little narration they're selling the rest of the nation is really getting sickening. Hell, I live here and I'm kind of hoping it falls into the fucking ocean. Because we can't seem to get rid of these motherfuckers driving us. And trust me, we've tried. We had a recall going a couple 2 years ago. 11 people in the state, 11 electoral process people in 11 different counties in the Southern California area prevented the votes from being mailed out in time, even though they had a court order. They prevented the mailing of the votes for the recall to go out in a timely manner to where they could be counted, and therefore the recall did not get the number of votes to recall Newsom. But yet the national news put out, oh, recall failed on Newsom, making all you people that don't live in California think that we didn't try to recall him. No, we did, and we had the votes. 11 individual people broke the law, and nothing was done about it, and we're all still suffering the consequences, and we're not even talking about it. Yeah, I'm on my 15th one today.
Yeah, I don't really smoke that much, but I just found this.
Oh, fucking score.
Yeah.
Fucking hello. That's a fucking Merry Christmas.
Pink Kush. Very nice. Tom's asking if my house is on Sauble Beach. that house in the picture there? No, but that's interesting. Tom must have been part of one of my previous live streams, or maybe it was here too.
Where you threw up? Hold on. Don't throw it up. I might have it. Let me check my pictures. Do I have it up there? No, I don't have it. I can add it. Okay.
But Sauble Beach was one of my stomping grounds growing up. I spent a lot of time in Sauble Beach. Hey, Mike.
Hi, Mike. Where is that picture? Oh, there it is.
That's right, Tom. Yeah, I would like to retire there.
I would like to retire here.
Well, there you go.
The only way to get to that small island with that castle on it is through the bridge. Otherwise, you're getting wet, and I'd make sure to chum for sharks. No, I wouldn't do that. Yeah, different styles of building. Both very similar. You got a witch's hat, and I got a couple witch's hats.
Have a good night, Mary.
Thank you for stopping by, hon. Take care of all them K9s. And the K10s.
I'm actually going to try this. Try a little bit.
Yeah. Let's see. We can talk about platinum. What are you guys doing? That's cool. You make that noise.
What, did we both take a break at the same time?
No, I'm reading chat.
Okay.
And I came up with that from Hilarious 2. And that's a smart person, not to let the government. Everyone should not. The government shouldn't even want to perceive to be something that's controlling over you. But
that's right. Like, technically, they're public servants, right?
100%. I mean, what is a tax dollar?
Serving the public, not trying to control it.
Exactly.
Like, talk about a reverse takeover.
Tax dollars are hard-earned money working for us.
Yep. Need some platinum to diversify. Yeah, I think so. That's a good idea. A lot of people don't have platinum. And it's about as cheap as it gets compared to gold or silver.
I'm sorry, I ran to the other room real quick.
No worries. You gotta grind it before you twist it.
Yeah, I got to, about every 20th time I use my little grinder, I have to get a little cup of empty cup and fill it with like rubbing alcohol and dump the top 2 parts into it to totally clean it.
Yeah.
Because it gets like sticky and it doesn't spin smoothly.
I just take a knife to the edges of it, just scrape it out.
Yeah, I have little quirks about my personality. I see the scraping of the metal and then everything I'm doing with the weed and the possible metal flakes getting in there and me smoking them.
Yeah.
So I try to avoid that. I did do that first, and then when I was looking at it, I was like, wow, this could happen. Why are you doing that? And that's why I changed up.
Fair enough. Yeah, you got to be really careful.
Yeah. What's up,
It's kind of like, you know what? That reminds me of when I worked in a kitchen actually near Sauble Beach, which Tom was mentioning. And I was thinking of that, when the chefs are sharpening the knives, they got their sharpening steel there.
Uh-huh.
And frequently they won't even rinse the knife off after. they're just sharpen it, and then they're right onto the tomatoes or whatever it is they're cutting, right?
Dude, if I ever had a knife that sharp, it didn't stay that sharp for more than a day because I could never keep it that sharp, so I never tried.
Well, a lot of them, they'll be sharpening it every 10, 15 minutes.
No, I did not, Gerald.
But anyway, yeah, anytime I even sharpen the knives here, always clean them after, make sure.
Yeah.
You don't want these sort of little metal findings here.
Yeah, I try not to use metal sharpeners. I try to use stone metal sharpeners.
Okay.
Or ceramic, if that's what they are. They look kind of ceramic-y instead of stony.
Yep.
That's the kind I prefer. I have used the steel on steel ones. If you don't have anything else, it works obviously better. But I do try to limit the amount of metal gets into my body. I've always been conscious of that as a welder, iron worker for over 30 years. Part of the reason why I've started researching self-health was because I was concerned about the chemicals and the metals that are entering my body, and I found out that an Epsom salt and baking soda bath helps pull heavy metals out of your body. So I started doing that, and I started to do other things just naturally like that to keep myself healthier than the average person, because of my job made me less healthier than the average person. So to try and balance it out, I found natural holistic method ways to cleanse my body of shit that would get in me on my daily job. And there's a lot of fucking grinding going on, and fine particulates of metal floating like dust in the air, but it's very, very small particulates of metal. And I've seen it in clouds. I'm like, holy fuck, I'm breathing this shit. And I'd wear a little, I've done what I mean, I like my work, but there's hazards to being an iron worker that most people don't face.
Oh yeah, even construction, like a lot of.
You got the silicones. Yeah.
Asbestos.
Yep. There's actually asbestos in some of the grounds that would work when they'd flatten the job site and shit. They had to move old stuff to get the new flat turf for us to build on. They'd be like, yeah, we had to pull, and legally that day, we had to pull out asbestos pipes here and there, and there's some in there, and so keep the shit watered down so it doesn't blow up and asbestos get in the air and stuff. And we'd have to have water cut trucks on the job site constantly keeping the ground wet so that the asbestos dust that was in the dirt wouldn't fly up in the air.
Asbestos removal was big business here about 25 years ago.
Oh yeah,
like big money in it, and I think they got rid of most of the asbestos in most of the.
What they did is during that building craze, the buildings that were affected by building permitting at that time were highly affected by it. Yes, and they did a good job. After that trend started ending, they didn't pay as much attention to it, and not as many permits for debatement of asbestos were given, although buildings were still torn down. So come to your own conclusion. Yeah, people started working without permits and tearing the shit down, not debating it properly because it costs too much.
Gotcha.
And that's how you get asbestos and dirt on new construction sites where there was an old building. Basically, what happened was the old contractor who tore the old building down didn't follow or get permits to do things the right way. So there's extra, what do they call them, environmental hazards that we have to deal with. I get all these in the pre-job meetings before the whole fucking crews start. We even start fucking moving into the first piece of whatever it is, equipment we have to do, whatever job it is that they want us to do. I used to be a safety coordinator. I knew there's so much shit I know. Yeah, you don't want to know some of the building stuff I know about some of these cities and how they could very easily crumble.
And Deja Vu makes a good point too. Says, crumple aluminum foil and hold a flashlight on it. See what falls off.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everyone. That's why I mentioned the Epsom salt and baking soda trick, because my mom, obviously being a woman, aluminum in the blood is supposedly one of many causes of Alzheimer's in women. And there was a lot of underarm deodorant stuff in the 70s, 80s, and 90s that was based with a little bit of aluminum that they promoted to women. So my mom was real concerned about it. So, I found out about Epsom salt baking soda also through that research, helping her find out a way. And together, because she was in holistic medicines as well, I mean, she was taking Epsom salt and baking soda baths to get rid of specifically to pull out as much aluminum out of her system to prevent her from getting Alzheimer's disease.
I guess I should give you a status update.
One good thing about me, not only have I been trained like an RN where I can do medicine out in the fucking field of battle, I also know holistic medicine to where whatever desert island we get captured on or stuck on, I could probably still do a good job of healing your ass up from the nutritional and holistic medicine that I know.
And that's especially good to know for SHTF situations.
Oh my God! If you don't know that in that type of situation, let me rephrase that. I totally fucking went off on the wrong direction on that. You should definitely already know that stuff if you think you want to be a prepper of any kind whatsoever. The first thing you need to do is know what food. See, that's where my Master Smasher. That's what it does. I put it in here. That bottle disappeared. See that? So that way, when it comes out, I can like roll a joint in a heartbeat, or I can stick it straight in my bowl. So I don't have to use. I only use my master, the crushing machine once to fill this all the way up, and then like it'll take like about 4 days for me to go through it, and then I'll have to use the grinder again.
Nice. Yeah, Gerald, I just twisted a pinner. And I wouldn't like usually be doing the show and tell thing with this sort of thing, but I noticed what the thumbnail for this live stream was.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you wanted. I still have some of those long buds in the drying room. They're still not packaged up for my.
You want to mail some up north to me?
I think it's illegal to do that still. I can't do it.
That's okay. We're set up here.
Yeah, you guys got that BC bud that they freaking did move to hell and high water to make sure we didn't get down here in America.
You know what? I'm telling you, there's more dispensaries here than there is variety stores or corner stores. I think it's the most common.
Dude, I'm
retail, storefront store you see.
Once I become wealthy, I'm going to take a private plane, and I say this for specific reasons, to come see you to specifically get some seeds of some BC bud, because if you ship them in the mail, which would be obviously easier and cheaper, or if you even wanted to fly commercial, it'd be easier and cheaper. The only thing is, if you go through an x-ray machine, it kills the seed and it doesn't make it to where you can grow. So the only way you can get a seed to the other part of the country is basically take a private plane where you don't have to go through customs and all this x-ray machines that will sterilize the seed.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Tom says he gets seeds from Crop King in Canada. But I was going to say,
what's the success rate on germination?
Right, and assuming you're getting feminized seeds, I think a lot of them are going to guarantee, like 90%. But I thought for sure you guys would have a good source of seeds down in the States. In fact, like I know guys here that were ordering seeds from the States.
All right, I got some milk for my tea. Okay, seeds. Almost 100%. Holy shit. Hold on, are these seeds, is that Crop King, is that a marijuana shop? For marijuana seeds?
I'd never heard of it, but that's what it sounds like.
Where you at? You're in Michigan? That's right across the border, right across the line, right?
Yep.
Canada and Michigan?
Yep. Lake Michigan.
They might ship them by boat. And that way you'd get around because if you have to do a plane trip with the Postal Service, it goes through X-ray. And that usually sterilizes seeds.
You know, I'm sure anywhere that you're ordering from is going to have that, the troubleshooting on that ironed right out. Right? There could be some label on there, you know, no x-ray, and they just disclose what it is.
Or maybe, hold on a second, here's something. Maybe I've been in California too long and it's only a California regulation to x-ray shit to where we can't export our seeds.
Yeah.
And that I could see because of the regulation of this state is the second most regulated and taxed state in the nation, only being surpassed by New York City or New York State.
Yeah.
We have some real crazy. I can't buy for my pets flea medication that I can get in Nevada or Arizona or Oregon. They're not legal in California. That's I was thinking of that when I was making these statements saying, hold on, I know I'm not wrong. But then I forgot I live in California and we have like these bizarre regulations that fuck us.
I was wrong about something I just said, and that was when I said Lake Michigan. What separates Michigan from
Sweet
Ontario in Canada is actually Lake Huron.
Right on.
Huron. So yeah, if you wanted to go by boat, that would be your way.
Oh, and speaking of this Greenland thing, I don't think that fucking Denmark's going to have a say in it. Because I was seeing something today where the country of Greenland and all of their representatives want to meet with Trump and talk about that deal. They didn't even mention Denmark. So I don't think Denmark wants to prove its colonial control over a separate nation in these troubling times. And I think Trump might get that deal through political pressure and the country wanting to become American. I bring that up because of what this statement right here. Gerald's been working on a pretty big ass ring of crystallized osmium.
Nice. I look forward to seeing that. I just dropped the link for Crop King, and I've got the screen shared for.
Oh shit! I gotta put my. I didn't see it. Sorry, my computer was in the way of seeing the screen.
You got it there. Well, let's just do search.
I am not a big fan of hydroponics. I understand they do work and the need for them. I'm just not a proponent of them. Nothing against them. It's just not my cup of tea. And I know my cup of tea is going to be extinct soon. That's probably why I like my cup of tea. And by that, I mean my growing technique. Because if they poison the planet any damn more, you will not be able to grow organically in the soil.
Well, there you go. So they've got all sorts of different.
So they don't sell marijuana seeds. They sell food.
I think
food seed doesn't fall into the same category as a class 1 felony seed. Which marijuana still is listed as a class 1 felony.
It's probably in a different section on their site then.
Well, that also might be how they get around the X-rating, is most of the TSA probably thinks because the amount of food seed they produce and sell over marijuana seed, it just doesn't make it worth X-raying all their shit. It costs too much. I could see that happening. Oh shit, I gotta get rid of this thing here.
Oh, I got the wrong thing.
What do you mean you got the wrong thing? What are you talking about? What you talking about, Willis?
I had the wrong website.
Oh. You're making me look like an ass, man. Good job. I fell for it.
Feminized seeds, right? But you can see everything they've got up here.
No, there's definitely California rules and regulations that cause them to X-ray it and make the seeds. State to state, I can order Humboldt County feminized seeds. About 50% of them don't come up anyhow, and the 50% does germinate. Half of them are male. Even though I pay for like 12 feminized seeds, I only end up getting like 3 or 4. But any seed I get from out of state or out of country, none, I get 0% germination because of the X-ray machines they got to go through. I thought it was, because I've lived here for 30 years, I thought it was an American-wide thing. Apparently, it's only a California thing.
Okay.
There's the mega ring. I'm gonna pull it up real quick. I didn't pull it up.
Okay. So I've got to. Oops. I'm going to remove that previous one.
Oh shit! The screen went dead. There we go. Of course, it's backwards, but that's a pretty damn big ass ring too. You see that thumb?
Yeah, it's not showing up backwards here.
So you're seeing the MAGA?
Yes, indeed.
It's backwards on my end. You see Ginger walking by on my feet? Yeah. She's gonna attack me a bit. Anyhow, how do I get out of solo layout there? Oh man, I didn't mean for you to take down your thingy.
That's okay. I dropped the link so anyone can find that site.
I was just tired of holding up my hand and wanted everyone to see it because it's a cool ass freaking ring.
Durban poison.
That's badass, Gerald.
Oh, they got mushrooms too, actually. That's right on.
Size 12. Yeah, it's a big ass ring. Those letters are huge for a ring. Having 4 letters.
That's the type of ring I think Mr. T would be proud of.
Yeah.
Good to see Kim's Creations.
Hello, Kim. Well, it's like the second time in a row you've been here. Oh, you talking about ARC's Ian?
Yeah.
There we go.
I didn't know that he was on tonight.
And his followers have freaking fallen. I think he's got down. He dropped to like 67 subscribers or something. I was wondering what the hell going on. I haven't talked to him in a while. See, look at that. Someone got sick. You're feeling blue and looking blue.
Oh, maybe she's not talking about Ian then. She says Ark Wildman.
Okay.
And I'm not sure who that is.
Yeah, I have no idea who that is. The only Ark I can familiarize with is Ark Silver and Osmond. The Ark Wildman, no, I have zero idea who that is. Oh, Welshco is talking about the largest. Oh, what? Wrong one. Sorry. Let's see. That's it. I believe it's the largest living species on our continent. I think is bigger than a couple states, and it actually is underneath a couple states, and it's a fungi. It's a mushroom. I think that's what you're talking about.
Could be.
We'll find out if he says anything. Mycelium. Yeah, they actually found mycelium. Here's some interesting facts about mycelium. And in between your skin, I believe it's called your ectoderm, and your actual flesh, your muscle, and all that stuff. There's a very, very thin layer in the human body that is a mycelia layer. They have found that same mycelia layer, obviously, under our feet in our soil. And also, here's the bizarre part, they found mycelia in asteroids in outer space. This, the same mycelia that we have in us and in the soil beneath us are in asteroids in outer space.
Now, how did they find that on an asteroid in outer space?
I probably did not do a show on it because I don't think people are too interested on it. But Japan, about 2 years ago. No, I did do a show on this, as a matter of fact. Japan ran several tests. They had 2 satellites unintentionally hitting this one comet, and they were doing their science shit. And the last part of it was one of these asteroids was going to drill into the back part of it to get a core sample of it. The first science they came up with photos, because the other satellite was there observing the first satellite, so they could get double science kind of on it. And when the plunger that they were using to get a core sample hit that comet, it did not react the way the physicists anticipated it acting, because it's comet's moving hella fast. They anticipated it to be a lot more solid. What they determined was it was only a tightly combined coalition of space rocks, not yet solidified into one object.
Gotcha.
So in other words, it was a snowball of a lot of separate individual snowflakes, and
Like
not
a shotgun shot.
Yeah, it wasn't a rock; it was a snowball in form. So when they'd hit the plunger in it, it made a massive 3-foot wide hole, and it was only supposed to have taken like 3 millimeters, and it blew the first satellite off the face of the comet. But anyhow, then they went in and they actually got deeper samples because of that first. It turned out to be an experiment. That it wasn't an experiment. They were actually only supposed to drill, and it was supposed to have a certain reaction. That totally didn't happen. So it turned out to be an impromptu science project. So they went and they re-landed it inside the little crater they created, and did it a hell of a lot slower, because they didn't realize the impact force they needed was like 100 times less than what they used. So they did it knowing, with the new science they got from the first one, they collected samples deeper inside that, and that's where that sample just reached Earth last November. And they're still studying it, but that's one of the things they discovered.
So they got a core sample.
Not a core sample, but a lot deeper. They were only supposed to get a surface sample because they thought it was a rock, so they anticipated it to be a certain
Density.
certain thing all the way through. So they only wanted a little sample to confirm that, but they were totally wrong about everything. It wasn't solid. It wasn't, so they, like I said, at that point, they were doing science, impromptu science, because their whole experiment got fucking booted out the window when they were proven wrong about what type of material made a comet.
Okay. It's pretty cool.
And here's another thing. About 18 months or so ago, a group of MIT scientists, 2 of them, I think, along with some other fishermen people and diving people and whatnot, were in the is it northern Philippine Sea or something like that? They were there for like a year collecting samples of this one quote unquote comet that supposedly hit the Earth that for some reason scientists were highly interested in. And they ended up collecting over that year time, through sifting the bottom of the fucking ocean where they anticipated it to be in. They found like a 0.5 kilogram of these samples of what that was. And they actually determined it was a created material. And it hasn't made the news. So in other words, it wasn't a meteor. It was a unidentified satellite and they picked up the fragments in the ocean. MIT scientists were the ones who went out there. They were sent out there by NASA specifically because MIT is real good at keeping secrets. And I haven't heard anything else about those fragments they picked up. All of them were spherical and all the same size. And that doesn't happen when a comet breaks up. And they all had same weight, same chemical composition, which was not from our universe. It was outside our universe because some of the I think it was the uranium that was in there. It wasn't 238. It was like 4 something, and we don't even have that.
Wild.
Yeah, some weird shit. I don't remember exactly. I only read the article once, but it was highly striking. Oh, hey, what's up, All Night Hider?
Hey, All Night.
Well, if you get your ass up on stage, we can start. But if you're going to be like Independent Mini and you use some excuse like you have children around you that are consuming too much of your time, then, stay in chat. Sorry, I'm just ribbing Independent because I saw her in chat again. Take every opportunity. I can't ban her or mute her, so I just take a jab every now and then. You take care, Pete.
Have a good night, Pete. Yeah, the link's pinned at the top there.
Yeah, anyone who wants to come up, it's a free for all. Just don't do any stupid shit. Because I will ban you if you're like drunk coming over here talking shit. You'll get banned. So just don't be stupid, and you're more than welcome up here.
It's okay to smoke a little bit of herbal essence, though, if you want.
It is suggested, but not required. Only because I respect people that don't smoke it. Otherwise, I would require it. But I don't want to interfere with the morals of a mother who doesn't want to come up on stage because she has her children around her. She doesn't want to influence them with that statement. And that's another reason why I said that. Another jab at Indy, because just why not?
I think that growing up, you love teasing teachers, and getting under their skin. And I think the second that you found out that Indy was a teacher, it flipped that gear, that switch in your mind.
I think actually, and if you look at it, I've actually put a little thought in this. If you look at astrologically, 13-year separation of age for male and female are more similar, and she's exactly 13 years younger than me. So we just through if you only look at an astrological point of view, from either the Chinese astrology or the Western philosophy of astrology, the similarity of age differences supposedly puts us around the same mentality, because men are supposed to be mentally less aged than our physical age, and women are supposed to be more aged than their physical age mentally. And that's where they came up with it. And she is 44, I'm fixing to be 57, which is 13 years. So there's a natural link right there, just even on a friendship level. And then on any level, it's this astrological thing of the 13-year separation of the mentality of men to women. And that's why, like, most people older are friends at with certain other age demographics. They get along with better because of that mental physiology.
Are you saying it has something to do with astrology as well?
Yes.
Capricorn.
Yeah, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in like horoscope shit, card reading shit, stuff like that.
No, but it has something to do with that 12 years.
There is it's proven through the ages of written history. An age is the time period of about 2,150 years. We're fixing to enter the age of Aquarius. If that song is familiar to anyone, it is because on 2150 AD, we're entering the age of Aquarius, leaving the age that we are currently now in. In history, when those happen, lots of other things happen within 100 years of that to 200 years of that time period. New religions get started that become the popular religion for that next age period of 2,100 years. That's why when you go back in history, you see Christianity starting at one point, and you see Ra and Egyptian religion ending, because it had its 2,000-year run, and it is an actual similarity through history that you can trace and track, and that is a similarity. So there is a science to it that you cannot, if you have any knowledge of it whatsoever, you can't deny that connection. Not saying that it's 100% true and accurate, but that connection is definitely there, and it's star based, and it's all based off of the stars, and a common consensus of the philosophical groups of people that talk about this kind of crap is that it's based off of our human nature, and whatever age we're in, as far as each age has a different theology and science and math, proven with the Antikythera device that during the Greek era, the era before the age that we're in now, or the age that they were in at the beginning of the age that we're in now, they were in the age of it at the beginning, we're at the end of it, the Greeks were, and they came up with a total math system, and they came up with all kinds of shit, and so it was all wrong from what we know now, but they came up with the Antikythera device, which is an analog computer, and they built this thing like 2,500 years ago. And our people nowadays couldn't figure out what the hell it was. We could X-ray it, we could do all this stuff, we could replicate it, but we couldn't make it work because we replicated it exactly the way it was. The one thing we didn't replicate is we didn't replicate their math. And their math showed the Earth as the center of the universe. So every mathematical equation was used as the Earth being the center of the universe. And our age group, in our 21-year history, 2,150-year history, shows the sun as the center of the universe. And our math is dictated off of that gravitational pull and everything. And that's how we get our math. They didn't know that, but they were still advanced enough in their math to come up with a working computer that worked for them, but it wasn't right. Meaning, and I bring that story up because that shows that you can have a computer tell you something and that computer's fucking wrong. Because they had a computer 2,500 years ago, and to this day, our best people could not rebuild that because they didn't use the math improperly to build that computer. And yes, I stated that properly. Yeah, it gets complicated when you get into the depths of history. It gets really, yeah. It's interesting. It's definitely interesting. You can do a lot of movies on it. And you find out stuff like in the 13th century in the Western Kingdom of Kush in West Africa, there was this one king. He was so fucking wealthy. He never went to war, but he kept on conquering people and nations. You want to know how he did it?
Economically.
Yep. An entourage of about 21,000 people, all with lots of gold and silver, and he'd go visit these other city-state countries and flood them with his money, and then leave, and they would hyperinflate and go into bankruptcy, and they'd come to him for help, and he would consume them. Not one guy died, and he still grew his nation. I like telling that story and bringing up China and what they're trying to do with us, but obviously I'm a white guy and I know that history, so I'm sure there's other people in our government that aren't Chinese that know that history and will stop them from doing it, so I'm not concerned.
Yeah, hacking their food supply is another good way. Or effective way. Not good, but effective. Tom mentioned that.
Oh, yeah. And the water. Lots of ways. Actually, you don't even have to poison the food. Just control the food production.
Supply.
And I actually bring that up in a couple of my videos because right now there are 5 Middle Eastern countries that are building artificial rivers running through their deserts. Afghanistan actually already stated publicly that they want to be a food producer to the world by 2028. For that to happen, that's right, our government has to kill our food production and farming. So if that's going to stop in 8 days and we're going to get our food and control and farming back, that means that we are not part of the world that they're going to be the food distributors to, because the whole game got changed. Having said that, I bring up the Bible. And the Bible, in their time and age, was written with their world not being a part. America was not part of the world back then. And every book written was not written for the world as we see the word world, because back then their world consisted of 2,000 miles, 3,000, 4,000 miles in any direction. And that was it. That was their world. So every doctrine and text written about their world, if it says our world or their world, it was about that area, because they didn't talk about the let's see what was going on 2,100 years ago. I think maybe like the Aztecs were around, worshiping their pagan gods at the time. That was not mentioned at all in the world texts of the Bible and other historical doctrine of the Middle East in the time period of their area of the world that they saw and believed to be their world, which rightfully they did. And I just
wouldn't have known about it.
Well, yeah, and I just explained that whole thought processes in the Greeks and their invention of an analog computer based off of improper math, and they still were able to create it and make it work and give them the information they made it work for, which was star charts. And it did accurately predict the star charts. It was just on the whole premise of the computer and the analog motion of all the gearing was based off of improper math. And that's what threw us for a loop. So, I mean, there's so many possible. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting too deep, guys. Sorry. Let's talk about something less deep. What game's that? Was there a football game on tonight? I don't keep up with football.
The Redskins, I think. But there's a good question. Here's a question for you. If it comes down to decision making, would you sooner, if you could only choose one, would you follow your heart or follow your gut feeling?
It's situational.
It's a good answer. And I questioned it that way because I know some people would say, well, I'd actually think about it logically and go with what my mind says, right?
Well, it's situational because you can say that, but then go ahead and throw the love of your life in a fucking life-threatening scenario, and whatever your fucking logic says, something else steps in at that point in time. So it's situational.
Yeah. And sometimes
depending on the situation. So, and for that, you should rely on a higher power as to which one to listen to in that situation. And that's, I think, why there's a higher power we should stay in touch with for a similar type situation as that. So you know which one to listen to in the right situation.
Good.
Because you do have two tugging at you. You have your heart and your common sense or gut or whatever you want to call it. And they're both working 24/7 in you, and they're part of you. It's the left shoulder, right shoulder, demon, angel, whatever you want to call it. So that's why you go in the higher power out and try and stay in touch with them and get the right frequency of that. So that way you always make the right call. I'll make a call based off heart. I'll make a call based off the gut this time, and hopefully you're right on each of those calls. And none of us will always be right because we're imperfect. So does it really matter how you make the call? You're only, if you want to think about it like that logically, well, you're going to be wrong about half the time anyhow, because we're imperfect and we're flawed and we're sinners. So do you really have to think about it, or would you have a better chance of just saying, hey, 50-50, I'll just roll the dice and say, okay, heart this time, gut next time, because you got about that much of a chance of being right anyhow. If you were to look at it logically. But to look at it more philosophically, you would hope you'd have the time to be able to have the higher power direct you into which direction to choose. But at least you'd have an opportunity to think, should I go this direction or that direction? At least
have a good night, Gerald.
Yeah, he's been busy, man. Drive safely if you're driving tomorrow, which you probably are. Tom, where's Tom? Where do you guys? Why is Welsh Coast Service calling a divorce lawyer tomorrow?
Well, I'll tell you, I've never been married, but my hat's off to anyone that's had long-term marriage that succeeded. So I think it's a lot tougher these days.
Believe it or not, I got a story for that. My Nana.
I don't believe it.
It's cool. And I'm sure there's other, and I won't even use my grandparents. Say grandparents or great grandparents, depending on how young you are, would have someone they knew, if not themselves, at times actually take a fucking cast iron pipe and use it on this spouse because of anger. And they stayed together for 70 years. But sometime during that 70 years, probably more than once, one or two actually acted out on the wanting to kill the other, not in killing of them, but in doing something physical that probably hurt them physically. I know my Nana and Papa had a round or two where my Papa didn't do anything because he took a lot of hits. And he was like, no, he didn't do that to ladies, but he got hurt a few times and deservingly so with what he did, you know. But they stayed married until he died. So, but it wasn't not like she didn't fucking waylay on him at least twice in their marriage, to where nowadays, if a woman did that, her friends would tell her just leave him. She'd be convinced leave him, and you get divorced. So there's not the commitment to the vow of people nowadays that there was 50, 100 years ago. And that's why you have a higher divorce rate.
So I used to respond to a similar question by saying that I think that there's only one reason to get married, and that's it.
Have children.
And yep, exactly. And raise a family together that will
better society.
Ensure that the next generation
Yep.
only gets married for the purpose of having children and, growing a good family.
And that is hard work, what you just said.
The number one thing has to be setting the future up, setting your future generations up for success. That's it. If you can't have that common goal, then I don't think it's a good idea.
No, and it wouldn't work. And again, most people
it's not necessary, or at least it's not necessary.
Most people are too selfish to give of themselves that for the next generation, because we were born into a me society. That's why everyone's got their freaking nose in the phone. It's not about what's going on. If a person, this is a psychological thing before you write it. If a person's got their freaking nose in the phone while they're out and about, they don't give a fuck about anything going on around them. And that's their personality. They don't care about what's going on around them. So what is happening around them that affects them? Well, it's just inevitable at that point in time because they don't care. That's why their nose is in the phone instead of head on a swivel, looking around, finding out is it going to rain today? Is the car coming? Is there a dog coming at me? Did I make a left turn thinking I made a right turn? And just looking at a phone. And I saw this little video on another reason why children are so unhealthy nowadays compared to like in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s and 80s was because that exact reason. Because we never had phones in our hand all the time. We had to put something else in our hands, like shovels to make sandcastles or build forts or climb trees. When's the last time a kid climbed a tree that you knew of?
I got to tell you, like, even in my personal situation, I never thought that I would spend this much time in front of a computer. In my life, I was always out doing stuff, and I still am to a large degree. But
but see, it's different for the adults, we adults, because it's a society change of technology. But you should not have children involved in that. They need the childhood. They're going to spend the rest of their life tied up with this shit. Their childhood needs to be learning, growing, developing, not getting tied up in the shit. Yeah, if they're good at computers, give them computers, but make them work outside, play outside, go swimming, climb a tree, build a fort, hang out in the backyard in a tent for one night even. It's, that kind of shit should be mandatory. I used to want to do that kind of shit, Nowadays, you got to make a kid do that kind of shit. There in and of itself, that what I just said is a problem with society. You'll definitely have a weaker, less knowledgeable child less learned, not knowledgeable, less learned. Knowledge comes through with learning, but if you don't learn, then no chance of getting any knowledge.
Well, I think it's just different aspect. Like there's what do they call it? Like street smarts. There's also, I guess you could call it bush smarts or off-grid smarts, computer smarts. There's all sorts of different.
That's understandable, but 95% of those got people with their noses in their phone aren't computer smart. They can't program. They can probably do a little bit more on a computer than you and I, but I know I'm ignorant. I'll admit I'm ignorant about a computer. So if you know a little bit about it, you probably got me beat. But I have enough intelligence to learn about it if I take the time. It's having that time to learn about it. Another story, but that's beyond the story. Still, they aren't experts at computers they're experts at texting their friends and what is it? Hold on. Manifesting their realities.
I think it comes down to is the time spent being consuming or creating?
That's right? that right there.
If you're being productive,
yes,
then that's very debatably time well spent. But if you're just consuming, and the only thing you did was, kick in a bag of chips and a couple candy bars.
You nailed it right there, because I actually was able to prove your point to a T. The only difference being I was an adult during my serious times of doing animal rescues and whatnot. Being out here in California through my connections, there was this issue of this wrongful thing that happened to this person and their animal, and I think they were in another country. Actually, I can't recall with accuracy where they were, but I knew this female lawyer in New York she was real good at what she did for law stuff, but her what she did for what she enjoyed doing in her free time was helping people with animal problems, with people going after them improperly. And I knew her well enough to know this, and I saw this case, and I was talking to this person, and I was like, let me mention it to this lawyer chick. So I mentioned it to her, and I asked her to look into it. And next thing I know, she actually filed a lawsuit on that person's behalf and ended the whole fucking case. And none of that could have happened without me being on the computer. So there can be great things that occur by sitting in front of the computer.
Oh yeah, like you can leverage resources. That's
100%. Yes, like I said, it was three different locations in the world. Because of three different people in three different locations in the world, I was the one that resourced all three locations to make something happen in that one location, and we were all in different areas of the world. And I thought that was cool as shit, actually.
Yeah, it is.
25, 30 years ago, you'd have been write letters and it would have been too late, Take about 3 weeks to get across country, and another 3 weeks, and then another 3 weeks, and then 9 weeks later, you're where I got in fucking 20 minutes,
Yeah.
So there's great things to be done about it. And I'm no expert in the computer, but I was able to use the computer expertly.
You did there.
Yeah, there's a difference. So, and these kids can't do either. But they can text their friends about what they ate and what that fart sounded like and who looked at them funny when they did it. They're not being productive or creative or industrious. It's a total, they're learning how to push a couple buttons and get through a couple apps. That's beneficial, no doubt. It's a basic learning curve, but it's also being programmed because you're not learning other skills that are actually valuable at that time and age. Because the youth, it's probably a good thing I never got married and had kids, because I seriously would be fucked. I'd put tapes in those kids' room as they slept with like James Earl Jones' voice going over some philosophical thing or some physics or some heavy math or foreign language from age like 6 weeks till about 3 years old. While they slept, they would be getting professor knowledge shit said to them while they sleep. And they'd
have a good night, Indy. Have a good night.
Yeah, like you can tell. Indy will tell you she'd kill a guy like that if that's how he raised her kids, and that's probably why I don't have a kid, because I'd want to raise him like a guy who had 260 IQ. And you can do that because kids are sponges. You actually can expand your IQ up to a certain age. It just so happens most people hand their kids fucking mouthpieces to stick in their mouth at during those ages. So the kids only absorb what they see in their environment, and that limits their IQ.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that there's got to be a balance too between them, being, what do you call it? I was going to say overly protected, but because it is different. I think there's a difference with homeschooling. It's more difficult for them to get the socialization. So
well, at a certain point in time, you can teach socialization if the society is not worth being learning that in society. And in today's society, with the way people act, I don't know if I'd want my kid out at the mall hanging out with his friends, because that's a perfect target for a fucking crazy person. So is socialization at this time in history the best thing for the kid to learn? Or could you teach it through social interactions online?
Yeah, sheltered is what I meant, right? You shelter them. But yeah, you're right. If all that's out there is a bad influence, then
this ain't the 80s and 90s, my friend. We used to, as a school, Pensacola High School, after a football game, they were synonymous until my first year as a freshman. For like 13 years straight, Pensacola High School lost every football game. They were the only one in the state for consecutive losses. That's a record we still hold. But we threw the best freaking parties after our losses. We were synonymous for known, and we would go to Shakey's, and even the other school would come to our parties because they were so great. Even the ones that beat us, and we didn't care because we wanted to party. And we had so many people at this fucking Shakey's, dude. Nowadays, I would have never gone there. Time is different. That is an ideal target. You know how many prominent children of prominent parents were at those fucking large school parties? Impromptu. Well, the parents knew about it, but still, back then it was an accepted thing. Make sure you're home by midnight, Okay, and at 2 a.m, you roll in drunk, say you're sorry, go get on restriction for a week or two, and then do it again. Times are different. And it's a shame, but it's time. It keeps evolving, it keeps changing and moving on.
Hey, Constitutional.
Oh my God, he's here. And he cannot come up on stage, unlike Independent Mini. I know for a fact he doesn't have any children distracting him, but his excuse will be that his computer audio and video is not working, so the best he could do is his phone. I'm psychic. No, I know that because that's the excuse he gave Nickel last night.
There you go.
What's up, Constitutional? And he knows I'm going to rib him, even if he doesn't know, he should know. The only way to truly rib me back is don't type it. Get up on stage so we can have a vocal go at it. Ribbing each other back and forth. But yeah,
I believe him.
No, I do too. He has no reason to lie. I mean, and that's if you think about, and it can influence your perspective on people too if you just use simple logic. Think about what reason would a person have to lie to you? What is a lie, and why would a person lie? If it doesn't fit the criteria, at that point in time, you can be convinced a 98% chance they're not lying. You know what I'm saying? You can come up with excuses for why they'd be lying, but you have to be realistic about it. If you half-ass another person, you half-ass another scenario, and something said, you should easily be able to put together a lie. It's one of the easiest things to detect. That's why that's just the exact reason why I don't lie, because to me, in my sphere, lying is easy to detect. So don't do it. But the reason for people to lie is to impress you or to hide something, generally in those two realms, the top of realms. There's lots of them. But especially online, if you haven't met the person, the reason they'd have lies to impress you. Well, you've seen me. I've got missing teeth. I'm not looking to impress anybody. So that one's out the window. And the other one is to con you out of something, to make you think something that's not true is true. And that's the exact opposite of what I do. I actually don't like that. And that's why I don't like, liars. And that's why I don't hang out with a lot of people, because there is actually a statistic out there. When we were growing up as children, as older folks, you remember your mother saying, I'm going to stick a bar of soap in your mouth if you say a swear word, or don't you lie to me or I'll spank your ass. Don't you tell a lie. And those things were things that you heard. Well, nowadays, the statistic, it's accepted that every person lies or tells a lie, white lie or otherwise, every 15 minutes. I discovered that. My jaw dropped. I was like, oh my God. So lying is now an accepted form of communication.
I'm not sure about the time frame on that, but for sure.
Well, it's that's for people in, like, I imagined, and I didn't get deep into the study on who they base their study off of.
And when they question them, what if they were lying when they said their answer?
I imagined it would be someone who had a human interaction a majority part of their day to have the opportunity to lie. So I imagined it being a person like at a place of a gate where people pass through all the time and they have a quick conversation. Because most of the lies that I determined it would probably would be the white lie. Like, oh, how are you doing today? And you just got divorced and you got a broke leg and you say, oh, I'm fine. Well, that's a lie. So I interpreted it in that manner as more of a white lie being an accepted thing just for the congeniality of convenience rather than truth. That's the way I took that study. I did not research or read into that study to find out what and why they actually did that research, much less what what results they were looking for and what they were going to do with them. I didn't even go that far because I had other things to do. And it was one of those things I came across and I remembered a little bit about it. That's that type of information. I'm not well versed in it, but I do remember what I said. But I don't know why they stated that because I didn't research it further than that.
I like what Hilarious 2 said there. Homeschooled daughter shed music lessons from Juilliard graduate and harp lessons from a symphony harpist. Socialization from her interests, which also involved a local artist guild. So
there you go.
That's great. Yeah, for homeschool.
Yeah, that's perfect actually.
Or sports.
The diversification.
Socialization through that.
No, you are obviously very intelligent, obviously, and very caring. Yeah, no doubt.
That's the way to do it because you know it'll be a good group of kids, right?
Well, you want to
relatively.
A parent's role is to prepare, not protect. Most people nowadays protect, don't prepare their children. That gentleman there or lady, I don't know which one. Let me say, Hilarious 2, obviously cares because they're doing it right. I don't know. I've always, and actually not having kids, once I do have money, I'll probably be doing this shit to my nephews, even though they're like 16, 17, 18. Even I've never met them in their pre-adult form. I'll probably still find some creative way to get a tutor of philosophy or something in their daily mix one day or two and see if I can wrangle them into some sort of a different schooling system or thought process than they've been available to them through my brother's rearing of them. I don't know what my success rate will be, but I'm going to try.
No, I can see that being a good idea, right? Like ensure that, there is a really good person that is part of their regular social routine.
Yeah.
Yeah. That way you don't have to keep eyes on them all the time either, right?
Well, I want to try and. What are you cats doing? Oh, okay. The window's half open. There's a cat outside. They're fighting with him through the window. If you hear a noise, that's what it is. Yeah. What were we talking about? I'm easily distracted. Squirrel?
Huh. No, talking about socializing. But you know what? I'm just about ready for a break. Are you still going on for a while?
I certainly am. Sure. You got Gandalf, quit growling.
I'll
Yeah.
be back in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem at all. So hold on a second. Let me see here. Okay, here we go. That tells me it's time for commercial break. I like doing that. Sorry, guys. Nice. It sounds like you have raised a well-rounded individual. And that is very, very good for you. Kudos to you. Again, I don't have any of those around me, little ones. There we go. Change up the picture there. Not a problem, Kim's Creations. You're more than welcome. And again, if you want to come up on stage, it's every time I do this, every Sunday, the chat, it's pinned to the top, the link to come up. And I think like 8 or 9 people can come up here. It's usually complicated. The more people you get, 3 or 4, you can have still good conversations. So I invite anyone up who wants to have an intellectual conversation. And have a good evening. Thank you for stopping by. Holy cow, hilarious too. Yeah, Welsko, you missed the first part. I showed, I think, 2 videos of my, what is it? It's my concept prototype mobile apiary system. Proof of concept prototype. Yeah, hold on. Proof of concept prototype, because it's unfinished. There was more. I was going to add the mushrooms to it and actually quite a bit of other things. It's going to have 2 dehumidifiers. That's the one thing I didn't tell you guys. It'll be an enclosed system to where the only exit for the bees to the outside of the enclosed trailer will be their entry and exit through the front of their hive. And the top inside that you saw that I had take those bricks off of, I'm going to screen them and have 2 dehumidifiers going, pulling humidity out of the air inside that enclosed trailer, because 90% of a bee's life is spent on top of the comb, drying the honey from like 30% or from 90% humidity or wetness down to like a 5% or 7%, something like that, before they cap it. And that takes a lot of time. It also puts a lot of humidity in there, causes a lot of mold, mildew issues. So if you have them enclosed into a trailer, like 10 hives at a time, like what my finished copy design is going to be, and you have 2 dehumidifiers in there, you are actually doing the bees' work for them, part of the beegonomic system, so that you are taking their 90% of their life that they're spending dehumidifying the honey before they can cap it. You are taking about 70% of that time away from them, so they won't have to spend dehumidifying the honey so they can cap it in a less liquidy form. And it'll give them more time to go out and get more honey, therefore giving you a higher production rate of honey for sale, giving a better return on investment when you purchase one of my finished models, which won't be available probably for 5 or 7 years. Dude, there are so many things that homeschooling can do. When I was in Scotland, we were at a lighthouse, living on a lighthouse for 2 years. We had a lot of farmland around us and a lot of cliff edges going into the North Sea. And there was some rabbits, a lot of rabbits actually. And my grandmother, my brother, myself, we'd always go out in the fields, chasing the rabbits and shit like that. And we learned stuff about biology of rabbits, why they created their holes, where they'd create their holes. We learned about other critters that were native to that area while we were out there, just having a fun day of play. My grandmother trying to, get us to waste energy so we'd sleep that night. And we were learning shit while we were playing. It was like a homeschooling environment. That part of the reason why I probably know as much as I know is because I lived with her for 2 years and she did that. It was like 24/7 learning. But when you got home from school, it wasn't really learning the way school taught you. It was a fun kind of learning, which I would always have considered a homeschooling kind of learning. And it was much more fun and beneficial for my grandmother too, because it did tire us out and we slept through the night and they got rid of us early at night and they were able to be adults for a couple hours before they went to bed. So it was a win-win. People don't do that no more. They stick their kids in front of the TV and wait till they get tired and tell them to turn the lights out. They don't learn anything that way. Let me rephrase that. They do learn a lot that way, just not what you want them to. And that's probably why we have somewhat of the society we have today, because that's been going on for over 2 decades, possibly 3, which leads to bad human lifestyle choices and bad economies, and it just goes downwards from there. Let's see, hold on, I'm answering somebody else here. So any other topics that anyone would like to discuss? Let's see. I can't believe no one didn't want to discuss anything about the multiple executive orders that are going to be signed within the first hour of the presidency of the next administration. But that's cool. We don't have to talk about it. I really don't want to talk about it. Well, we're going to be living and seeing it, so it's all good. And let's see. Well, most definitely. And I never want to project that I want my reality to be anyone else's reality. Not saying that's what you're saying by any means. This would be an informational exchange. You go to bed, Deja Vu? Right on, my friend. Thank you for showing up, brother. But yeah, I want this to be an information exchange and knowledge-based, fun atmosphere, getting stoned kind of thing. It's going to be more fun. What's on my mind, Earl? I was just thinking about I'll be moving sometime this year, and I'll be documenting that on the channel. And the place I get, you'll see if I get the place I want, I will have a good half acre that I'm going to start a small American grapevine vineyard on to produce my own homemade wine from an American, natural Native American wine.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, that's going to be part of the moving aspect of my channel when I move. And of course,
the vineyards are really vulnerable to weather, though, are they not?
That's why I'm only going to dedicate. And I'm not. There's no guarantee as of right now that I'll get the place I'm looking at. Place I'm looking at, 3-bedroom, 1-bath, nice fireplace. It's like 1,700 square foot, real cool. It's on 3 acres, and in that 3 acres, I plan on taking about a half acre of it and doing the vine growing on. It's in the right growing scenario, because they're actually, if you know what you're looking for when you drive down I-10, you can see them growing on the pine trees in nature because they're they're natural American grape.
Yep.
So you can see them growing on the side of the highway of I-10 if you know what you're looking for. But so they do grow in that area. As far as any other, and they do have actually vineyards of the Scopanone and Muscadine wine down in southern Alabama in the area that I'm going to be at. So I'm hoping that I have this similar success rate as those ones. But
You could do some amazing grape juice too. Like I don't think you'd even have to turn it into like with alcohol in it.
Yeah, it's going to be there for all kinds of things. I'm also going to eat just the freaking grapes themselves because I envision myself having like as soon as I get my own pad, being outside on the nicer days because of course it rains down there more than it does out here. Sitting down having what I would consider a Roman styled brunch, which consists of a few different styles of crackers, different styles of cheese, some smaller tomatoes, and grapes, and with different types of bread, along with olive oil and balsamic vinegar. All that combination is what I call a Roman brunch because it's very similar to the lunches that the Romans had in their day, especially the olive oil and balsamic vinegar with bread and cheese and well, they had olives and grapes. I don't like olives. Some that have olives.
I heard steak and eggs was a really popular military diet as well. Steak and eggs.
Well, I can tell you what I do, and I do a lot of cheeseburgers and hard-boiled eggs.
Jeez.
As a matter of fact, I just boiled up 9 of them. I was thinking about cracking one up and eating it.
Yeah, eggs are a nearly perfect food source.
They're good. You boil them up, and they last longer than unboiled.
I remember growing up, the thing to do, especially if you were working out and trying to stay in shape, was to have raw egg.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you hear. One thing.
Did you ever do that?
Yeah, I did. And one thing, and that's before I knew about. Well, back in the 80s, they started learning about metabolics.
Yeah.
You started hearing a little bit about it. But there's a lot more to it nowadays than there was then. And there's different types of body physiologies or metabolic systems. And you can work out one kind of way that works for one person that makes them like big and all this other stuff. But if you don't have the physiology and metaphysiology to have that style of body, you're not doing any good to yourself by trying the same stuff they're trying. So it's always better to find out what body type and metaphysiology you have, or before you start any of that stuff, so you don't, because you can start. It's like they've discovered, and this is disgusting, I know, but they discovered a bacteria in the fecal matter that you can add to people that'll keep you thin. No matter what you eat, it'll keep you thin. It's a certain bacteria that goes in your lower intestine that does certain things at a certain level of your diet for your body type that keeps you thin. There are people out there that do fecal bacteria exchanges for weight loss. They don't talk about it, but it's kind of successful.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So then that goes with the metabolic differences of humans. You get the metabolic bacteria or gut or lower intestinal bacteria of the type that you want for thinness, and you get it placed into you, and you can remain thin. But then at that point in time, you won't be, you want to build up muscle mass, and you've got that bacteria that'll keep you thin. You're not going to be putting up too much muscle mass no matter what. So there's a lot more to weightlifting and muscles than people think. And that's why a lot of people get disgusted or disappointed in the natural way, and typically would fall back to use of steroids to get the results they're looking for, which is very unhealthy for you.
Yeah, I'm glad I never did that. I knew a few guys that did.
I know a whole shitload of guys that did.
Well, and you never know. Some of the guys may have, but even just the personality change on them is incredible.
Yeah, I know, Welsco. And to top that off, I'm the Economic Ninja's #1 mod. You figured I'd have a couple hundred people in here.
Well, you could if, all you need to do is ask them
Nope.
to promote it.
Nope. Not going to do that.
I realize that. But that's it. You're going low
It's
key.
going to grow naturally.
Yeah.
Natural and organic, baby. My growth will be because of natural interest, not because someone promoted me. Because, that's just, it falls in the false bravado thing. You're falsely building up yourself through someone else's popularity to get numbers that aren't going to be sustainable if they don't naturally like what you're doing anyhow. So it's going to fall back. So you're going to get a high group of numbers. You're going to get excited. Then you're going to start losing people until you reach that medium of people that liked your stuff. So it's just, I'd probably end up long-term with more people doing it that way, but it'd be a lot more highs and a lot higher highs and a lot higher lows or lower lows on the emotional end of it. If you're looking at, wanting to monetize or anything like that, which I don't concern myself about, although as a human being, every now and then it does pass into my brain and I do have those feelings and shit. And I do go through those spans of, man, fuck YouTube and all this other crap. But then, I get over it in like 5 minutes because it's just, it's one of the 5,000 boxes that makes up who Neil is. And that's why he box me up in one box and say, oh, you're this. No, I'm 5,000 boxes. This is just one of what I am. I'm very deep and very wide. I'm not shallow.
So I was going a little bit deeper into the analytics on my channel because I wanted to see what was going on, right? It's natural. And I came upon a thing I'd never seen in there before. And it said that something like 94% of my subscribers don't have the notification bell set. And so what that means is you can have however many subscribers you want, but if they subscribe to, say, your shorts, the shorts videos, and they didn't click that bell for notification, they will never get a notification that you published a video.
And I think a lot of people, I think that's working both ways for me. I think on my shorts, people are hitting the notifications because I'm still gaining subscribers in number. Yeah. But I'm, like what Welsco pointed out, there's only 8 people in here. So I'm gaining the subscribers on the shorts, not on the videos. Although I have been turning out 2 or 3 videos a day to try and get more out there. And I've noticed I'll get 30 to 40 views per video. Yeah. So, I am trying to grow that side too, but it's just so much harder because this side of the YouTube stuff that I'm doing, not the shorts, but this side, I get shadow banned a lot. It's like almost a permanent shadow ban. So, and that's why I started the shorts, so I could still kind of fake the algorithm out because of the number of subs I have. It might push it a little bit harder, even though it shadow bans most of my content. And that's what I've been fucking with. And to prove my point, if you look at Ninja, he was at 500,000 for 3 months. He didn't get but maybe 10 subscribers, and then all of a sudden he got 35,000 in 1 week. Yeah, okay, that's manipulation. Someone's controlling his content and who it's reaching on a daily basis. Even that's how effective it is.
Well, the way YouTube pushes it out is extremely important. I've had a number of videos that just do nothing, and then 3 weeks later, and you can see it. The impressions just cranked right up. The click-through percentage, goes up a little bit, but my take on that is the YouTube algorithm discovered a new population of, viewers to suggest your video to, and a good chunk of them, clicked on it.
Yeah, I'm not interested in playing any games I'm moving forward with plans and stuff that I got going, and how I plan on beating this YouTube bullshit is when I do build that lightning crystal box and get it going on the third strike. Ninja said he'd come down to a live stream. That's when I start my Crystal Lightning channel, and I'm feeling pretty confident that I'll probably have 1 million views in the first month and over 100,000 subscribers and be in that club with YouTube. And I'm going to use that channel to promote this channel. So I'll be self-promoting off of a high subscriber count channel, my content.
Good call.
That's how I'm going to try and beat YouTube.
Yep, that's a good idea.
Yeah. And I'm going to have, Ninja launch the fucking channel with me on live on his channel. So, yeah, I kind of arranged it where I'll be hitting about 500,000 people on my launch. So
I do think that Ninja's subscribers are legitimate though. Like when you look at the live streams, he's got, he's usually got at least 1,000 people in there.
Oh, yeah. He's got, average, and see, it changes too. I've been with him for what, 2.5 years, and I've seen the numbers. And it's sometimes it's pathetic, but I want, I'm me, and I'll just keep it going. I'll be cheerleading, whatever. And we talk, we text and chat and shit, talk about the numbers, and yeah, it's manipulated, man. There'll be sometimes in one day he'll get 35,000 views, and the next day he'll get 4,000.
Yep. Some of it can just be timing too.
Yeah, no, most of it's fucking manipulation. It's already been Nah. Luckily, we don't pull our hair out over it. Because Lord knows if he pulled his hair out, he wouldn't have the Brohawk.
That's right.
It's highly frustrating, and he and myself, we do get highly aggravated, and we try not to talk about it. We do everything we can. I can't do nearly as much as him, and he is doing a lot. I help him in what I can as far as the censorship shit, and as far as other people using his name and accounts trying to fucking steal off people and do bullshit and stuff like that. And there's a lot of it still going on. Not as bad as it used to be, but there's still a lot. So, whatever. And that's why he's going to help me out when I need it. Because I told him, I said, because he's tried to offer me a lot of shit. I was like, no, man. I said, when I want something, I'll let you know. He's like, all right. I said, until then, just let me put down buy silver, platinum, and crystallized osmium, because I know you don't like people selling their own shit. It's not really selling my shit, but it's selling the idea of buying that shit. He's like, no problem. Keep doing it. No big deal. So he allows me to do that, and I'm happy right now. And he knows I'm going to use him for promotional reasons later, and he's more than confident in me, knowing that it'll all be beneficial all the way around the book, and it won't be detrimental whatsoever to his vision or his channel or mine or my channel. Yeah, it's been fun. Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah, it's fun, hilarious too.
You've been pumping out a lot of content too.
Yeah, I've been trying to get the numbers of subscribers up for the for my actual, not my shorts. And yes, it will be an interesting adventure. It's been fun so far.
Yeah, you've got 4.4 thousand videos. Wow. I'm just coming up to 1,000.
Yeah, like I said, I'm shadow banned, Jam. But see, the great thing about this, and this is where if you have vision and foresight, you can anticipate this, and it's a way to actually psychologically not get upset and want to blow someone's head off, which normal people probably would after this point. But when it does end, it's just going to be like a regular manipulation scenario. The longer you hold it down, the higher up it goes.
Yep.
So when the manipulation of my channel anyhow ends, and you saw it in one day or in 1 week in Ninja Channel, you got from 500 to 535. So you gained 35,000 people, subscribers in 1 week. A similar thing will happen to my channel once the shadow banning stuff ends, because I do have the content and the algorithm numbers basically to warrant a push that once the shadow banning's over, I'll probably go from like 5,000 subscribers to 15 to 20, maybe 25,000 in a month. And then there'll be like, 200 or 300 people in here. And, that's when the shadow banning will end. You'll know it by that. And being that I have the intestinal fortitude, and I don't give a shit about the channel making money, I can hang in there for that. And I kind of get a silent pleasure out of knowing that it's going to happen no matter how bad they try and screw me. I know I'm going to win in the end. It's kind of joyful thought to keep hold of, especially since I don't care about money, and I'm sure they're thinking that I'm hurting, wanting to make money off the show, which I could really care less about because of the scenario I told you, how I'm going to have Ninja push my show when I launch my other show, and they're not going to be able to do anything about this censorship or the shadow banning at that point in time. I've gotten around it on my own. That'll probably be about the time that everything's going to end shadow banning wise anyhow, because the administration changed, rule changes will happen in Google, and it'll just be an extra push for my channel, which will really throw it up there. At least that's what I'm hoping for, but who cares?
It is what it is. You've got a fantastic library of videos, though, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, I got about 2 hours of content. And I hate to pat myself on the back, but I'm right on most of the stuff I say throughout all that content.
That's good, man. Listen, I got to go. I just realized it's like midnight here. I got to work tomorrow.
I thank you very much for stopping by, Jan. We've been going for 3 hours. I appreciate you, brother.
For sure. Good to see everybody here. Hope everyone has a good balance to the rest of the week. And
subscribe. Throw your channel in there.
Ciao, guys.
Make sure to subscribe to JM Unleashed. Yeah. My only concern about money is what other people want to take from me of the money so I can have what I need. That's as far as quote unquote concern. Yeah, it'll come. I'm most confident of that. So I don't let it weigh me down like a weight or waste my precious thoughts on it, because I have other things that are more interesting and think about. Yeah, I got a lot of things going on. I am making moves that will make myself my own central bank in 3 different financial hubs within 2 years. So those moves will guarantee that I won't have to worry about money like I don't have to worry about it now. And because of the attitude I have about it, it doesn't matter how many millions I get, I'm still going to have a small house. It's not going to change me, because what I will do is I will, once I start prospering, I will be doing basically what Travis says. And I'll give this as a for example, even though it might not be, it might be the thing. But say like I run across someone who I believe has the heart and soul to be able to do what they say, who wants to start a sawmill and get in that business. Well, if I have money, I'm the kind of guy who will buy a little bit of land, build a sawmill, buy the sawmill, get everything together, get the trucks and the trailers, and say, hey, let's go in business 50-50. You run it. I have all the equipment, and I'll do what I can for connections and advertisement, and let them run it and just have 50% ownership while they increase their lifestyle. I increase mine. I believe if you get the right person, that person will want to succeed and do great things with that opportunity. of getting all the equipment they need to do what they wanted to do and succeed at it. Now, whether or not they want to cut off their own, whatever, but that would still take years, and you're making money off of helping other people succeed. That's what would really tickle me pink. And also make me very wealthy, because as everyone else succeeded, I'd succeed right alongside them because I partnered up with them in their success. Those being the key words, partnered up with them in their success. I'm not going to want to bring anything other than the materialistic shit that they can't afford to make them successful. And that would be the partnership. So I'll be looking at other people, seeing what they have the potential to be successful at if the stuff is given to them, and make it happen for them, so that way I succeed with them. And of course, along the way, if they have troubles, I have to step in with some money, take care of it. That's what you do to help them succeed. And at that point in time, you have vested interest to make yourself succeed when they succeed. So it's a win, 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 until you get tired of that word winning. And I kind of like that scenario. It kind of turns me on. So I'm sure in my belief system, it'd be God, and yours, it can be whatever you choose. It's your right to choose, and I have no qualm about that. But I believe it's destined for me to have a lot of money to be able to do that and spread that kind of economy to others who have more than they need, and show them what they can do with their money rather than buy a new Mercedes every other week. You figure they only do that because they don't know a better way, because they were never taught, because they were born entitled and rich anyhow. You come in there and show people how to make money by helping others. I'm sure 1 out of 10 rich, greedy people would probably say, wow, that's a better way to do it. And that in and of itself is a win, But that's just me. I'm hoping there's other people out there like that. That's why I kind of like Travis, man. We get along fucking hella great, because he's got a very, very similar vision, going about it differently. And everyone's got their own calling to get people to get there. And that's kick-ass. And it's kick-ass that we hooked up, because then it's just, it's extra special force. And that's cool. I like that. I like being part of his journey. It's helping me out. It's a co-symbiotic thing, scratching backs, moving forward, helping people, getting good, solid information to people that they should know, that can, give you opportunity to create opportunity. But anyhow, enough about Travis. He's not here. And actually, you guys got a lot of insight about me in this one too, which is kind of cool. I hardly ever talk about me. Yeah, I actually do the weave. I didn't know that's what it was till he called it that. I naturally have done that my whole life. I can tie things together. How a fucking bird, an elephant farting in Africa causes a hurricane in America, and weave it all in. It's because it's all there. You just, I see how he does it. Just put it that way. But people have to give you the time to do it. If they don't, and they do that too. They'll interrupt him while he's trying it. He'll stop him. He's like, "Yeah, it's part of it. Just hear me out. We'll get back to it, and it all makes sense in a second." I don't get that time, so it makes me look stupid a lot when I try. But yeah, I do that too. The weave. Problem. You can't win without knowing how things are connected. And if you know things are connected, you can talk in what he calls the weave and make connections between things that people will go, oh wow. Yeah, baby farting in China does make a difference how your tea tastes. Yeah, that's a stupid analogy, obviously. But right now I'm stoned as shit and I can't think of a good one, so it's all good. Let's keep positive thoughts for everyone. Be kind, helpful, grateful. And everyone try to be the best you can be every day of your life. And see what the rewards of that bring. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Yeah, pretty much. Everyone else has already left. I've bored the shit out of them. But I'm glad everyone's here. And again, my channel is not that popular. I'm sure most of the people are here because of Independent Mini and JM and maybe one or two other people. And when they left, everyone else left. But I do appreciate them coming up, viewing hours and whatnot. What I appreciate more is the ability to give information and receive information with people who want to receive the information or insight or at least a viewpoint, and it might enlighten them in their scenario where they might gain from having a fresh new introspective of a scenario or situation that they wouldn't have without having come here. And that excites me, and that's what keeps me going, even though there's 3 or 4 people here. Because the epiphany, if it happens to one person, it's worth telling the story 1,000 times and not getting the epiphany. Because if one person gets it and they get it and you helped them out, it makes all of the bullshit worth it. And that's coming. That's why I say be prepared. And that's why another reason why I give out this message is there's going to be a quick recovery. And that's why I showed that little video from, I don't even recall the channel, Redacted, I think it is, when they said in the Trump's first hours, he's going to sign several hundred executive orders that are going to devastate the past 20 years of presidency's lawmaking that wasn't American way of doing things or done scrupulously or something like that. And all those things it's going to be a big shakeup, but it's a good thing. And if we all just kind, helpful, and grateful and help each other through it, we will be so much better off, because there is a V-shaped recovery baked in. Because with all this bullshit that's coming, you already know Trump got one commitment for $100, maybe $200 billion worth of new money just into manufacturing. And as all-nighter will tell you, you have the shipbuilding act coming. That's gonna create thousands of jobs all throughout, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of jobs all throughout different states of America. So when people are getting laid off from the government for downsizing, new opportunities of jobs are going to be waiting for all Americans to take. So if you have a TWIC card, you can open yourself to working in these ports and manufacturing areas along the seaboards and waterways that are going to get this money and insurge of money during these bad times to stimulate the economy during the bad times, which is indeed the Shipbuilding Act. Tons of money is going to be used, spent on port revitalization and modernization. And after that, the building of no less than 200 1,000-foot long boats in all of the ports of America, because they want them done ASAP, which means every port in America is going to be work, and every bit of work going, the shopping malls and everything that goes along with those people having money, good money, is going to expand. So the opportunities there to gain if you position yourself properly. That's all I'm saying. Try and, get a bigger picture of what's coming. Know the bad's coming. Yeah, it's going to be bad for a little bit. It's not going to be that bad if you're prepared for it. Stockpile of food. It's called a pantry. It's not a prepper. If you have subversions to that word, it's not prepping. It's called pantry. And you usually keep 2 to 3 months of food in a pantry anyhow. So don't let these preppers change your wording or your feelings because of a word. It's a pantry. I've never considered myself a prepper. I consider myself common sense. My grandmother, both on my mom and dad's side, both had pantries. One of them was Scottish and lived in Scotland. One lived in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So obviously they came from two different countries, but the similarity was they both had pantries. So there must be an importance to it. And they all had about 2 to 3 months supply of extra shit in there. And so obviously it's not prepping. It's just common sense. It's what grandma did. So if you have a diversion to the word prepping, use the word common sense. Use the word I'm doing what grandma did. You know, grandma also used to can fruits and vegetables because it was smart, not because it was prepping. It was because it was smart. And why did she do it? Because refrigeration wasn't that good. Because transportation wasn't that good. Okay, what do they say is coming? Food and transportation issues. Okay, well, grandma solved them 80 years ago, 70 years ago, 60 years ago. Just do what grandma did before that shit happens, and it will hardly affect you. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying be smart, but just do what grandma did. Pantry, canned goods, rice, beans, other, spaghetti, noodles, other types of stuff like that you can store, that all you need is to oh, here's a good one. Being poor, I grew up doing this. Spaghetti. You boil up spaghetti and you don't add nothing to it except for a couple eggs, raw eggs, and you let them cook in the spaghetti after the spaghetti's done. And then you put Parmesan cheese on it and eat it. Very filling, tastes good, and it's got a lot of the nutritional value you need. Cheap, easy. All you need to do is be able to store something long enough, which would be the bread material or the spaghetti material, and have enough Parmesan and have a chicken or two. And you could keep feeding yourself for a long ass time. Cheap as shit, tastes good. Now, if you want to get creative, you can add other stuff, tomato soup, make some bread and throw some cheese on it, call it a grilled cheese sandwich. I mean, there's sides, if things get bad, dude, you know what I'm going to do? I was alive in the early 70s. I was actually living in Europe, the worst place to be when America's in the recession, because the food stamps we had back then was a rectangular, not rectangle. Was it rectangle? Yeah, it's rectangular block of cheddar and a pound of bologna. That was food stamps. And trust me, we got them. My dad was the only one working, and he was only an E6. We had to pay rent because we weren't living on base because the accommodations weren't built yet. And he had 2 children and a wife. He wasn't making enough money to live. We were on food stamps, and so we got bologna and cheese. So if I'm better than that, and I know how to live on that too. And you know what else we did? Because we're in Italy, I was in 2nd and 3rd grade. I had to discover, started 3rd grade. I ended up 3rd grade in Scotland and all of 4th grade in Scotland. So for a year and a half, I was in Italy. Actually, part of 1st grade too, but I wasn't in school. It was free time. But anyhow, I had a lot of time to explore the countryside. And I discovered how to get fresh seafood. Dude, the amount of sea urchins that I ate as a child in elementary school. Let's see. Clams, mussels, sea urchins. What else was so readily available? We have mushrooms, a lot of greenage stuff. I'm sure probably kale and lettuce and stuff like that was growing up in the place. We'd have that. Tomatoes, sardines, fresh sardines from the Mediterranean. You batter and fry them. They're pretty damn good, actually. Eat them whole, don't gut them or anything. It's a French style. All those things was things that in our spare time, having fun, we would collect. Most of those things obviously being water-based stuff because we lived right by the water on the Mediterranean, so we would get food straight out. I mean, sea urchins. We could walk in the water. We learned how not to pick them up and how to pick them up by mistake. Making mistakes and getting pricked. So you learn through education. You learn through doing. And we started collecting sea urchins, and those are gourmet dinner, man. We were eating gourmet shit as kids, being poor as fuck. because the food was there, and I guess they didn't call it gourmet food back then. So, you know, you can subsidize depending. We were lucky; we were along the shoreline. But there's, I mean, if we were along a river or up in the mountains, there's other things. There's truffles growing in the mountains. There's mushrooms growing in the mountains. They're naturally. In southeast of America, you have natural growing Scopanona muscadine grape. They'll grow up randomly up fucking pine trees along the highway. They'll grow anywhere, you know. So you can go along there and right time of year, just load up on grapes. I mean, hell, you could probably load up. I've seen so many down there. You could load up enough on grapes. You probably make a couple bottles of wine. So you just got to know your environment and take advantage of it, and have a pantry. And between the two, I mean, the fact of you going out and looking for the grapes, the adventure you're going to have out in nature, fresh air, walking, you know, perspective. Just have a pantry, just like what Hilarious 2 said, buy food that lasts, you know. Don't buy high preservative food that lasts. Don't buy food that lasts because of preservatives. Buy food that lasts because it's food that lasts. Honey. You can actually store meat for quite some time if you freeze it. You can I think it's a year you can do, and you're not going to need that. I think 6 months is all you're going to need. So, you know, so there's, you know, make your own tomato soup. Grow tomatoes, make your own, learn how to make tomato soups. There's so much in that. First off, you're learning the skill of canning. You're learning how to make tomatoes sauce, not tomato soup, excuse me, tomato sauce. And then actually from that, you could actually learn how to make ketchup and tomato paste. So you can learn so many skills that would be so valuable just by stocking your pantry. That's, I mean, fuck. I mean, I like learning. If I had, you know, when I get to a place where I have a kitchen and freezer and refrigerator, I most certainly will be doing that shit. Just because it sounds like fun learning, and quite frankly, I can grow the tomatoes, so if I don't have to buy tomato paste or ketchup or tomato sauce, fuck, sounds like saving some money. And just off the top of my head, I think it would probably be healthier for me because it would be from my own soil, and I would know how many pesticides I didn't put on it. So I'm thinking it might actually, and I would know how many, you know, alternate additives and preservatives I put into it, which would be absolutely none. So it would definitely be healthier, and it would be a fun, useful skill. I mean, there's so many benefits to stocking a pantry. I mean, it's like, wow, yeah, think about it. Holy shit. And think of all the stuff you just learned in the art of stocking a pantry. You know, it's like, wow. And did you ever think you could make your own ketchup? You can grow tomatoes and sugar, pretty much. I mean, there's a little bit more to it than that, depending on the of it that you like. You know, you add cornstarch or don't add it, depending, you know, whatever. And I'm not even sure they use cornstarch. It might be something else. But yeah, it's kind of easy to make when you get the recipe for ketchup. You know, forget all the additives they put into it. Just do the basic shit: the sugar, the tomato. And I think there's one other basic ingredient before you get too crazy with it. And you know, you just made your own ketchup, made your own tomato sauce. Wow, you just created your own fresh, damn near dinners that are more wholesome and healthier for you. And you know the benefit of that? Good health. So stocking a pantry can not only be beneficial, it can save money, you can learn some new skills, and it can be fun. It's all in your perspective. Anyhow, you guys think I've read my mouth long enough? I got up to 6 people. That's fucking 100% improvement in what I had. At least once a week. And it's very, very, very good for you, especially if you do it right. And only do liquids like water for that 24-hour period. And if you fast, or if you can handle it, and then this is by no means do I ever suggest any medical thing for anything. I'm not a doctor or anything. But if you fast for 3 days, you reset your immune system. So if you're having immune deficiency disorders, not saying it would work, not saying it won't work. I'm saying it is a fact. If you fast for 3 days, you reset your immune system. By saying that you're resetting your immune system, I haven't studied enough to know what exactly that means. But if you're having immune deficiency issues, a reset of your immune system, I don't think would be a bad thing. I think it actually, in worst case, might be doing no harm, obviously, or possibly some good. But I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I haven't done research on that too heavily whatsoever to be able to conclusively say anything. But I do know 3 days of fasting does reset your immune system. To what extent, I don't know. What are you meowing at? Quit it. Gosh, my cats are so which one hasn't meowed like crazy tonight? I think the damn cat I've had has meowed like crazy tonight during this live stream. It's freaking ridiculous. This is the first night they've been this lunatic. I guess they're preemptive full moon attituding it to me. Are you going crazy one night in advance, Jin? What Jin? Ginger just jumped up in my lap. I don't mind her being here because it's 45 degrees outside, and she's one of my chunkier kitty cats, and average temperature's 101 degrees. Kind of cool giving her a rub down. Ain't it right, girlfriend? Mm-hmm. It's like having an electric blanket on your lap. That meow there, that's from Shadow, my black kitty cat. He has the most audacious meow. Total alley cat sounding meow. When you hear him meow, you have visions of a cartoon human throwing a shoe at a cat on a wooden fence. Ain't that right, Shadow? That's your meow. Here's something funny for you. And I thought more people would be talking about this when they finally came out and proved it. The food pyramid's a freaking lie. I do believe, wasn't it Welshco? Someone said something about you need fats in your system earlier. I didn't comment about it, but you actually need a freaking hell of a lot more fats in your system. As a matter of fact, if you don't have as many fats in your system, you develop cholesterol and blood pressure problems. And what they're calling the food pyramid is the food pyramid was created by the highest bidder. That's the most simplistic way of putting it. Lobbying was done through Congress or to Congress for them to hey, get out there. For them to a food pyramid. So the company that bid the most, bacon, eggs, orange juice, toast, the bread companies, the orange juice companies, the sausage and bacon companies, the ham companies, those companies, they all fucking were like, hey, we paid the most. Let's put us on the list for breakfast. And then they broke it on down for money. Then the government said, okay, well, you guys paid us enough. We'll put this list out. And then all of a sudden, a couple of years later, we start developing high cholesterol, high blood pressure, heart disease, kidney disease, dental problems. You know what's real good for you, all-nighter? Lard. You know who made lard illegal in America? Obama. The type of stuff that you have right now that they call lard is not the same kind of lard that Grandma had. And they used to use lard to make pies. That's why the pie was so damn good. Ain't no pie today like a pie that Grandma made 30 years ago. The reason for it, she used lard. Dude, it's your body needs fat, dude. My mom was a nurse, and she was under the system. She was Scottish, so she went to England, Scotland for their nursing. And we got in arguments. Even as a child, I told you I argued with everybody. I wanted whole milk. She wanted me to drink this like watered down 2% shit. I told her, I says, why don't you just go buy whole milk and I'll drink my cereal, or I'll eat my cereal with the whole milk, and you add some water to your cereal and then put a little bit of milk in it, and you'll have 2% milk. I said, I want my fucking fat. And as a little kid, I argued here about that. And you want to know the only one in the family of me, my brother, my mom and dad that does not have, well, my mom and dad are dead. My brother have high blood pressure and high cholesterol. My mother and father both did and all took medications for it. You know who does not of those four have high blood pressure and high cholesterol? Me. Because I had a different diet than them, because I fought tooth and nail to eat what the fuck I knew I wanted that was good for my body, that the system said wasn't good for me. And it turned out I was right and they were wrong. Again, it's a type of lard. All-nighter. You go tonight. Thank you for being here, West Coast Services. I appreciate it, brother. But yeah, research everything. You gain knowledge. After a couple of years, it's no longer bullshit and monotonous. You actually find it entertaining to learn new shit. And it becomes habitual. And then the next thing you know, you start making more intuitively wise choices and you're better off. That's why in larger than not number of cases, people start actually in their 50s, because it usually takes to that time for you to have that mindset to be able to actually gain wealth and not think about things that don't matter, that they shove down our throat for you to try and think about that they matter. And it usually takes a long time getting screwed over by their thought process that they feed you before you figure it out. But that's just my thought process on it. I could be dead wrong. Yeah, you also need the right color light spectrum. You need to go outside and understand what your ground's telling you, and you can't do that with shoes on. I don't know. When you guys, and I won't tell you how it's done, but when I come up with the lightning channel and it launches, I launch the lightning channel. A lot of the thought process of how I'm going to make it a successful device that consecutively draws lightning to the same location again and again and again and again and again and again and again is from my knowledge of what happens barefoot. And I know that's a far stretch, but there's truly a connection. I won't go into it because I don't want to give away any information, because I'm hoping to make a hell of a lot of money off of this. But we shall see. That could be a fucking joke and a laughing stock and a big failure. I don't think I will be. I'm pretty sure I won't be. I'm pretty convinced I'm right. But we'll see, I'm not right the first time. I'm damn sure I'll be right the second or third. But irrelevant. I have plans that'll actually create and generate wealth. I'm very, very hopeful perspective that working with lightning will bring will garnish me great wealth and opportunity. I do believe it will. All indicators are showing that it will. So for all my subscribers that stick around, you will see a Pauper to Riches story in 2025. And I'll be the pauper who starts the story. And I'm hoping I'll be the rich man that ends it. And then ideas will start coming through fruition to where I'll be making other people wealthy by investing in them and their businesses so that they're successful. And I'll make money off of them being successful. And that's when I'll be totally giddy. And hopefully each and every person that I deal with will be solid, no matter what their belief system as far as religion or economics or whatever, as long as their core value is that of an American value system of freedom and equality and equal rights for one and all, not special or equity rights, but equal rights, not equal outcome. I can deal with you. Yeah, very low fucking expectations, okay? Yeah, that is, I won't even throw God in there. Country and family. If you're a country and a family-oriented person, whatever the God you have is that made you country, family and country person, good enough for me. I can work with you. So I'll do my best not to be prejudiced or racist or ageist or religionist or sexist or whatever. Indiscriminate. Whoever wants to start a business that'll be successful, I'll be looking to fucking buy all the equipment you need, do all the advertisement you need, get a little bit of whatever the fuck it is you need to make you successful, and we'll go into business. I'll back you, your business. Having said that, even though there are 6 people in here this evening right now, I think I'll end the stream because it is 9:30 at night, Western time, Pacific Standard Time. So I know it's 10:30 Mountain Time, 10:30, 11:30 Central Time, and 12:30 Pacific Time. So I am going to end the stream. I appreciate every single one of you for being here. I appreciate any and all questions. And God bless America. Be kind, helpful, and grateful. And give a shot at being the best you can be. And I will talk to you all next Sunday. Thank you for showing up.